Getting set for the green flag here in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Bristol, presented by Pennzoil. Our starting grid across the top of your screen. How about 50-year-old Mark Martin? His 5th pole of the year, his 9th pole at Bristol, tying him with the all-time record with the legendary Cale Yarborough. Carrying a camera going over the wall tonight will be the front tire changer for Martin Truex's Chevy. It is Dennis Terry, who's got a Bachelor of Science, landscape architect out of NC State University. He's an architect during the week and a tire changer here on Saturday nights on the weekend in NASCAR. A lot of drivers who have won here had a lot of success starting toward the back of the pack. Marcus Ambrose, by the way, you see him flashing by there in the 13th row, ran in the top 5 for much of the spring race. Faded late, but still had a top 10 finish. See Carl Edwards going by, starting 32nd. Carl has won the last 2 August races here, starting way back in the back of the pack. There's our in-race reporter Jeff Burton back in the 37th position.
1 to go. This is a go lap.
Our race analysis, it is 500 laps on a half-mile track, 266 miles, pit road speed, a slow 30 miles an hour. And there's the pit window, almost about 150 laps.
Well, that's how far the gas tank will take you. Some of these guys probably don't want to go that far under green. They'll count on pitting under caution.
Okay, here are the keys on how to be a maximum driver, delivered by UPS.
Now, the biggest thing here at Bristol is always keeping the fenders on the car and having something to race at the end. And the spotter is really key here. He has to look ahead for these guys here, because you get these chain reaction things that happen on the racetrack, and keeping those tempers in check, because you can sure get them riled up here.
Whew, that can be hard to do.
Folks, pull those seat belts tight on the sofas at home. They are 2x2 in Bristol, Tennessee. Thunder Valley, they call it the Coliseum of Collision, and we're going to turn them loose with a green flag.
Oh, Martin gets loose and into Greg Biffle. Here comes Scott Speed on the inside.
Yeah, it looked like Mark was really fighting hard to get those 5 bonus points, try to get that lead, but it really got loose, got into Biffle.
I think that's going to tell us where these guys are going to line up when it comes time for double file restarts after cautions.
So Biffle will lead the first lap and get those 5 bonus points. Scott Speed, the rookie, back there. Martin back to 3rd, and now he's under attack from Matt Kenseth in the 4th spot.
Yeah, Mark Martin looks like he's battling a really loose race car right now.
Looks like Dave Blaney got shoved in that high lane up there in turn 2. He catches the wall there with Logano.
Trying to get back in line behind Logano, and almost took David Gilliland out. In the NASCAR Nationwide Series race last night, we had 5 caution flags in the first 50 laps. And 3 times it was the leader that had trouble.
Yeah, you see Blaney's got damage, but Joey Logano also caught a piece of that wall. See Blaney here just trying to get out of the way. That's hard to do here at Bristol when you got a line of cars coming.
Yeah, there's just nowhere to go. Even if you stay up high in the corners, you have to come back on the straightaway, and that's where these guys are trying to get, is up against the wall.
Yeah, you see sparks flying off Logano's car there with the contact.
Now, across the top of your screen, we're going to have a running order, and the green will explain those that are in the chase, and the yellow says those that are on the bubble and could get in the chase. The white are the ones that are already outside and could not have a possibility of being a chase contender here in 2009.
Yeah, it looked like Martin finally did get sorted out there now, started to pull away from Matt Kenseth now, back up to 3rd and moving in on Scott Speed in 2nd. I think he just had a loose race car to start the race.
Yeah, extremely loose there. Greg Biffle was excited yesterday about his car. He qualified extremely well. And even before he qualified, he was excited about his opportunity to go out and run well in this race and possibly win. I know this is really early, but it looks like he has a car that's capable of doing that tonight.
Greg Biffle, one of 6 drivers that's yet to win this year that won a year ago. There is Tony Stewart, the points leader. He is already in the chase, but struggling here in the early laps at Bristol. Jamie.
That's right, Doc. He's having radio malfunction. What's happening is he can hear his spotter and the crew just fine, but when he speaks, he has to go to Ryan Newman, his teammate's backup radio. So what the 39 team has done, you can see on the right side, they brought over a backup radio. Watch for them to make a radio change on that first pit stop.
Thank you, Jamie. And Mark Martin, as you guys predicted, has gotten settled in, now back on the move. He takes over the 2nd spot from Scott Speed.
Now he's still going
trouble. Joey Logano into the wall in turn 1.
Is out. All right, you can roll now. Come on, let's go.
So we saw the contact on
Caught
lap
up,
one.
get caught up if you don't have a flat tire.
He's got a flat left front tire for sure.
Got to wonder if the contact on lap one where he just scraped it off the wall may have cut a tire.
Here.
I'd say that probably cut, yeah, when he got into Dave Blaney, that probably got into the sidewall and the left front finally blew out.
It looks like he can, he's got some damage. Oh man, he's got a lot of damage on the right side.
Then we can watch as he's sailing into the corner here, looking back at Reed Sorensen.
Just looking. Got loose.
Oh, he got a little help on that one too.
Yeah, we're going to see that. A lot of contact on that. There's just not a lot of grip.
Hold it up there. Trying to hold it up.
The majority of these guys yesterday, here we're riding along with David Rudeman. You see Reed get into him.
Go low, go low, go low, go low. Good job, good job. No caution, keep digging.
I don't know if the tire had anything to do with that until afterwards. It could have been going down to make him go slower, though. I think that was a problem there, and Reed just happened to get up into him.
Yeah, quite a few cars were on his bumper attacking him.
I was going to say, a lot of these drivers yesterday were complaining about how slick the racetrack was. They just didn't have any grip down on the bottom of the racetrack in particular.
Greg Biffle leading at Bristol for the first time in 7 races since the spring of 2006. He has led all 12 laps thus far. Under caution at Bristol moments ago, Tony Stewart trying to get down pit road with the window net down to be able to get that radio worked on. He had to come on and off pit road twice as we go back to the green flag, and they're probably going to put him a lap down. Stewart coming up on the racetrack, and there goes the leader right behind Biffle and the front of the field. Stewart now gets up to speed in behind Biffle.
Comes Matt Kenseth trying the high side of Mark Martin. He's able to take that second spot away.
I know if Mark Martin ever gets the lead, what lane he's going to choose on the restart. It'll be that bottom one.
He just doesn't seem like he can get going. He didn't even take the high side once he got up in behind Greg Biffle, so it might be his car's just so loose on these restarts.
He might have just let Matt go so he could have that outside on the next one.
We might have mentioned under that caution a moment ago, we did have 7 other cars come on the pit road. Jeff Gordon came in and changed 4 tires. Nemechek in, Jeff Burton, Robbie Gordon, Andretti, and Elliott Sadler. Also, along with the 14, as you saw a moment ago, trying to get that radio repaired.
With 3 wide back in the back.
Tony's also struggling with his car. I mean, that car's just not running.
There's Juan Pablo Montoya, and their focus has been totally on making the chase this year. His only top 10 finish at Bristol came in the spring when he had a very solid run.
They've really been focused in on what they're doing and what their job is with Montoya, and he's doing a terrific job in carrying out their game plan.
Boyer is in 5th spot right in front of him, then Montoya behind him in 6th. Kurt Busch in 2 cars in 7th position. We told you Jeff Gordon pitted. Now he is back in a gaggle of cars in heavy traffic.
Well, he was back there anyway. He started back there, and that's why he made that pit stop. And he just made that pit stop. And what did they do to the car, Shannon?
Well, you are exactly right, Andy. Steve Letarte told me today that their plan is to get off sequence as soon as possible. That is the only way they feel they will be able to get the track position and get Jeff Gordon up front. He qualified 33rd, restarted 33rd. There was a wedge adjustment and 4 tires on that pit stop.
Yeah, that's exactly what I talked to Scott Miller about early in the race, before the race started, about how you get that track position. And that's what you do. You make those early stops, try to keep good tires on the car in case they do run like a 20 or 30 lap segment here and they do pit, you can stay out.
Yeah, the only problem, he's losing about a half a second a lap to the leader right now, who obviously has clear racetrack. And if you do that, it only takes 16 seconds to get around here. So that'll tell you, it won't take long before he's banging on your back bumper to lap you.
And right now, Greg Biffle has a half a lap on this group right here. They're coming up off of turn 2, and Biffle's already past the start-finish line, heading into 1.
The key thing you got to do in this position right here is try to put as many cars between you and the leader as possible. Just like Jeff's got a good amount of cars right there that Biffle has to go through before he gets to him. That's a little cushion, and if he can pass a few more right here, just all that does is help.
Yeah, the more of these he passes, the better off he's going to be, and he looks like he's got his car a lot better right now as he goes around a number of these cars, and as you said, Andy, putting space in between.
07 car issues up across the racetrack. Dave.
Yeah, there's your look right there, Doc. That left front tire is getting a rub from the fender there. That was contact with David Rudeman just a few laps ago. The worst factor for Casey Mears right now in that car is that he dropped to 15th from a starting position of 7th.
And that's great camera work out of the 29 car right there, that in-car camera. You can see just how that tire was rubbing.
Mears is in the 07 car, being shown in 15th position. Harvick is 16th behind him. You see Jimmy Johnson trying to move underneath David Reagan for a 17th spot.
Jimmy Johnson's really trying to make this bottom side work and go around Kevin Harvick here. We haven't seen many guys pass on the lower part of this racetrack yet.
Only one I'm seeing pass on the bottom has been Jeff Gordon. And now you see, looks like Jimmy Johnson is. They still haven't got him cleared though. His car's working.
Nice
on the
run
bottom.
there. He's able to get back to the gas on that bottom side, and he's able to make that pass on Kevin Harvick.
No surprise that Jimmy Johnson is good.
That camera angle scares me right there. I don't like seeing that.
Jimmy was the fastest car in the final practice session. Just overdrove it a little bit in qualifying, which is the reason he started way back in 21st.
Yeah, I talked to those guys down there earlier today. They were pretty confident they were going to have a good race car.
"31 laps in of 500 here, and is Greg Biffle, who has led all 30 laps thus far. Started on the outside of the front row, and he beat Mark Martin to the turn in turn 1, and was able to take the lead away. It is Biffle, Kenseth, Martin in third, Ryan Newman fourth, and Kurt Busch, the 5-time Bristol winner, in 5th position. Let's check in on the 17 car. Vince.
Matt Kenseth running second. Drew Blickensderfer, the crew chief, said they wanted to go a little more conservative on the setup because they're 11th in points. They wanted to make sure they didn't make a mistake, but they had trouble finding the sweet spot on the setup, and Matt said tonight he wasn't quite sure what they had. They've got a pretty good race car here in the early going. They're up to second. Dave?
Vince right behind him. Mark Martin runs in third. Remember the start of the race, the pole sitter Martin in the 5 car got loose. It looked like he radioed during that caution. Obviously it's loose, but it's very good. It's going to come to me if I'll just slow it down a little and let the car work. Doc?
How hard is it to be patient when that happens, DJ?
Extremely hard. It's just, I mean, you go in telling yourself you have to be patient, and you'll just work around things that you have going on, but it's really hard to do here.
36 laps in, and Biffle has led them all here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Back with more of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Pennzoil. At Bristol Motor Speedway, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action on a Saturday night in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Tennessee. Packed house, over 160,000 strong, and right now Greg Biffle, tired of hearing about the fact that he hadn't won this year. One of 6 drivers that hadn't been to victory lane. He has just pulled away by 1.3 seconds over his teammate Matt Kenseth.
He's been out cruising, but he's getting ready to have to go to work right here.
Yeah, he's cruising, but man, as we pan back to some of these other guys, this is quite a race we have going on around this racetrack. These guys are 2 wide, sometimes looking to make it 3 wide. Jeff Gordon is in the middle of a real battle. Look at this. Junior's finally got by the 26 car that he just battled for 10 laps trying to make a pass on. Now he's going to go up and try to get Reed Sorensen in the 43.
Yeah, Sorensen is in 20th position, and that's the group on back. 20th, Earnhardt Jr. 21st, McMurray 22nd. You see Casey Kane up there, Marcus Ambrose. There comes Jeff Gordon and the 11 car, Hamlin, who's come all the way from the back of the field.
Yeah, Casey Kane looks like he keeps wanting to make this thing 3 wide. He's higher than anybody else on the racetrack. He's getting a really good run through the center and off the corner. You just can't get enough room to make that without getting squeezed into the wall.
Marcus Ambrose down on the bottom. He's been there for at least 10 or 15 laps, kind of pinned on the bottom, and Gordon has been up top, and they just can't go anywhere, it seems like.
Yeah, and as these guys race here, the leader's getting closer and closer to him. Now, he has probably 12 to 14 cars to pass before he gets to this group, but they will be getting the passing flag.
You saw Denny Hamlin a moment ago. That car just snapped loose on the bottom of the racetrack there. He was able to gather it back in. Vince?
Denny Hamlin qualified 41st, and as you mentioned, he's on the march. He's already picked up 15 spots. They were a lot better in that final practice. Said they found a real good balance with the race car, and they were excited about it. And we're seeing why as he's picked off one right after another. On the inside of Jeff Gordon there, says he's a little tight in the center, but real good in the early going.
Thank you, Vince. There's our biggest movers. You see Hamlin, he was talking about, up 16 spots. You see Truex up there. Rudeman up 11 positions. Rudeman all the way up to 7th position. And the 98 Menard trying to stay on the lead lap. And now the 16 Biffle having to pinch it off on the inside.
Yeah, and he's got company from Mark Martin there and Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Biffle was out there kind of cruising, nobody in front of him, but he's having to go to work now. He's going to have a lot of cars to try to pass him.
Yeah, his night of leisure just got over right there.
Probably watched the Nationwide race last night and saw that the leaders had a lot of trouble with lap traffic. It cost Kyle Busch a chance to win the race.
He's got another little gap right here, and then he's going to catch another group of cars.
Well, it's usually a big factor in these races, and we have so many cars that are running good, and especially these guys complaining about they just can't get the grip that they need to go through the center and off the corner on the bottom of the racetrack. Makes these passes a lot more difficult.
Yeah, you see, when Greg Biffle cleared these cars, he picked up another 2/10 and pulled away from Matt Kenseth and Mark Martin.
Yeah, Kurt Busch there in the fourth spot in the 2 car. He's having a good night, Shannon.
He sure is. Kurt Busch, a 5-time winner here, guys, but he has not won in the past 6 races. His crew chief told me we just have not been able to find a setup that Kurt likes with this new track configuration and this new track. Well, guys, I think they've hit on something tonight because he is very happy with this number 2 car.
Good action all the way around this racetrack. There's the 07 car. Casey Mears coming off his best finish of the year. Both these drivers having good finishes at Michigan. Mears finished 6th. Earnhardt Jr. finished 3rd. And they are battling on the racetrack right now for 17th position.
This is where the impatience comes in. You see, there's a gap in front of Casey Mears, and that's why Dale Jr. is trying to get by. There's cars lined up behind him, and they want to get by, and there's a gap in front of you. You know that you're a little bit slower than the guys behind you.
And Jr. just made him a gap right there, kind of slid up there, got the left front of Casey Mears' car, but it got him the spot that he was wanting.
Great NASCAR Sprint Cup racing here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Lap 58 of the Sharpie 500 here Saturday night under the lights. One of the fan favorites, and now you're seeing why. Battle for position. Mark Martin trying to take the 2nd spot away, but can't hold the bottom of the track. Like you said, DJ, to get down there, this can't go anywhere. Can't get any grip off the bottom.
Now, I'm watching a group back here, too, as we see Mark Martin trying to take over the 2nd spot from Matt Kenseth. That group of Casey Kane and Jeff Gordon and Denny Hamlin and all that crowd, they're still battling back here. Casey Kane's gone from the top now down to the bottom. He was up beside Reed Sorensen but couldn't make the pass. Now he's starting to fall back and lose spots as Gordon's gone around him, as well as Michael Waltrip and Robbie Gordon now.
And that has been an intense battle for like 40 laps, it seems like.
And you can see that Denny Hamlin was up in front of Jeff Gordon, but he got in behind Casey Kane, and now he's stuck on the bottom.
Looks like Gordon now got clear of this, and he'll have a little bit of clear sailing until he catches Reed Sorensen.
Michael Waltrip back in 25th position. It looked like Mark Martin on the right side of your screen had moved in on the 17 car. Now the 17 is pulled away as we watch this great battle here. This is 23rd through about 31st.
Now you see Jeff Burton in that group, Denny Hamlin, Sam Hornish, and then right behind him is Carl Edwards.
And the buffer that these guys had, which was about 14 or 15 cars, is now down to only about 7 cars between them and the leader.
Looks like Denny Hamlin got real loose off 4.
Yeah, he got real loose and gathered it back up.
He's got trouble.
Yeah, he's got something wrong here. He got
Left front.
Left front.
Left front's flat.
Caution's
out.
Caution's out.
It was just a matter of time before they were going to be beating and banging on each other, causing some kind of problem.
Well, you can only be patient for so long in a situation like that. Your spotter's hollering.
More tires and fuel, Patrick. Let's get 3 cents.
The leader's coming. You got to go. And they don't have to tell you that. You want to go, but there's just nowhere to go, and you just can't get the grip that you're looking for.
We can't just say, hey, get going?
Yeah, let's go, guys.
So Denny Hamlin had moved all the way from 41st starting spot up to about 23rd, and now has a tire issue and brings out caution for the 2nd time tonight.
Yeah, he'll go a lap down right there getting that tire changed. Still a break for him for that caution to come out.
Yeah, because if it had to come on to pit road, he was going to lose 2 or 3 laps possibly before they were able to get all of that changed. And even getting down to where he could get on pit road.
Denny, the winner at Pocono a few weeks ago, finished 2nd here back in the spring to his teammate Kyle Busch. Now at 30 miles an hour, that's got to seem like an eternity, like you're just crawling around this pit road here at Bristol.
Got to come get tires now, don't you, Andy?
Oh, yeah, they're going to come get them. You might see a few cars try to stay out here and gain a little track position, but and you might see some two tire guys, Vince.
The 17 of Matt Kenseth, he says it's just a tick tight. It was loose early on, but tightened up through that run, and he actually liked the car a lot. They come in for these 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Jamie?
And Greg Biffle, your leader, had only led 1 lap coming into tonight, has led tonight the entire race. They're going to do 4 tires and a wedge adjustment in the right rear. It was loose early on, but it came around the longer the run went on. Shannon?
Jamie, Kurt Busch said the car started off great. Now it's getting just a little bit tight in the center and a little loose off. They're going to take half a pound of air pressure out of the rear tires. 4 tires and fuel for the 2. Dave.
Clint Boyer pits from 5th position. His car was tight. They'll make a wedge and air pressure adjustment. Mark Martin, bottom of your screen. He pits for no changes to his car other than full of Sunoco fuel and 4 fresh tires in the 5 car. Let's see who wins the race off of pit road. The 16 goes by. Here goes Martin. He'll go out second.
So Biffle will win the race off of pit road. Mark Martin second, gaining a spot. Kurt Busch up a spot. And Boyer as well. Matt Kenseth back 3 positions. He was the first pit coming off the track there off of turn 2. Back in a moment. Double file restart here. Mark Martin on the inside. Biffle the leader, and Biffle gets a good jump entering turn 1.
See Mark Martin, he's hanging with him this time.
Mark Martin, by virtue of pitting here on the front straightaway on pit road, was credited with leading a lap during that caution a moment ago, so he now has those 5 bonus points, which takes a little pressure off him trying to catch the leader now and get up front.
Yeah, and that happened because Greg Biffle stopped on the back straightaway at his pit stop. So as they came around, Mark was the first car with everybody pitting. That's how he got his bonus points. So once again, qualifying well has its advantages.
Yeah, I can't believe every single car on the lead lap pitted there under that caution. Nobody tried to stay out and gain any traction.
Except for Tony Stewart. He got the wave around, so he's back on the lead lap, but he didn't get tires or anything there.
Great battle for 3rd position here. Clint Boyer and Kurt Busch side by side the last 2 laps.
They're still having problems with Tony Stewart's radio, too. And he wanted to get in there and get it fixed that time, but he wanted to try to get that lap back, so he stayed out and took that wave around, like you said, Dale. They'll have to get in here and get it fixed, though.
Yeah, Kurt Busch is doing a nice job trying to hang on the inside, but as you can see, that outside prevails once again. Here comes Montoya trying to take that 4th spot away.
And Mark Martin looking racy on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to sneak underneath the 16 of Biffle.
Yeah, they may have made an adjustment on that 5 car on this stop.
Yeah, definitely.
It looks a lot better this time.
Remember, Mark said it as a guest in Countdown in the pre-race, he thought he had a top 10, maybe a top 5 car with a couple of adjustments. He could win this thing.
He's being a little humble.
Yeah, as we know Mark will be. He's not always telling us exactly all that he's got, and that's okay. Now, Matt Kenseth lost 3 spots. That's very uncharacteristic of that team there, because they really do a great job for Matt. But he's up on the high side right now, losing spot as Jimmy Johnson takes that 6th spot away from him.
That could be a pit position thing, too. He took that opening, or that first pit on pit road coming in on the backstretch, and what happens is with so many cars in the pits, they bottle you up, and you get stacked up behind them as they're coming out of their pits and getting into their pit.
See, about to see Biffle slip a little bit there on the right side of your screen. Mark able to get by him now.
And Mark
lets him go.
Will take the lead here on lap 77.
Mentioned the 48 car there coming. That's somebody we're going to have to watch out for tonight. He got really loose in his qualifying effort yesterday, was really disappointed, but he's on the move now.
Montoya going beneath Boyer, and you're riding along now with Jimmy Johnson right behind Juan Pablo Montoya. More on Montoya, Dave.
His car was a little snug in the center and snappy loose off. They made an air pressure adjustment for Juan Pablo on that stop. Crew Chief Brian Patty told me that tonight for them, running 7th in chase contention right now, a nice quiet top 15 would be just fine with them to maintain their position. But right now, they're running much better than that.
Yeah, they have to be ecstatic with top 5 if they're going to be satisfied with the top 15.
There's the 18 car. The top is coming right by Kyle Busch, who qualified back in 15th position. And back in the spring led 378 laps on his way to victory here.
I think he knows his job tonight. I mean, as much as he wants to win the race, he knew the first part of this race was a very dangerous part, starting back in 15th. He did a great job in that first run. Now he's trying to just kind of pick them off one at a time and get himself up there in contention for this.
David Rudiman right in front of him. There's a 00 car. Rudiman started back in 18th position and promptly drove that car into the front top 10. in 7th spot. Now trying to move side by side with Kenseth and hang on to that 7th position. He will lose it.
See this battle. This is just really difficult for these guys to make a pass on the inside or to hold a spot on the inside. Somebody gets that outside position.
See Jeff Gordon on the left still fighting big time, trying to get by a lot of good cars.
That's Brian Vickers in the 83 car. That's 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd on your screen on the left side. Of course, the battle for 7th on the right.
You can see Kevin Harvick really getting the gas and pull away there, but watch Robbie Gordon make a run back on the outside. Harvick got a little better run off the corner that time. He got a little loose off of 4 the previous lap. Jeff Gordon takes that spot away from Robbie Gordon. Sets his sights on Kevin Harvick. See Matt Kenseth losing 2 spots there to Rudeman and Kyle Busch.
Now Kyle turning left, trying to go underneath the 00 and can't make the pass. And Rudeman's got a good race car.
Rudeman's got a very good race car, doing a nice job with it. You can see Kyle Busch has a good car too. His car cuts through the center of the corner and able to get off of that corner very well. Watch and see if Kyle Busch is able to make a pass on the inside. Something we haven't seen done too much. He's not able to do it that lap.
While you're watching this, we'll tell you that Mark Martin has pulled away by about 10 car lengths over Greg Biffle. Now Martin has gotten the lead. It is Martin, Biffle, Kurt Busch, Montoya, and Jimmy Johnson, the top 5.
You know, it might have been that Mark's car just didn't like those scuffed tires that he had to qualify on yesterday, that they get these stickers on a slight adjustment, and they've really done a nice job.
Mark Martin is a 2-time winner in Bristol, Tennessee. His last win came 11 years ago in 1998. Monday Night Football continues on ESPN with preseason action. The big question, can rookie quarterback Mark Sanchez shine and gets his first start with the Jets up against a very tough Baltimore Ravens defense? Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and the boys. Monday Night Football preseason game on ESPN Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Mike Tirico and the guys. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Up front, Mark Martin is our leader. There's the 5 car who was the pole sitter. In second position is Kurt Busch, the 5-time winner here at Bristol, coming off that disappointing 36th place finish at Michigan. And good battle waging here between the 42 and 48 cars. That's for 4th position, Montoya and the champ, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, Montoya's got a really good race car. Johnson's fast, and he runs on the bottom, but Montoya is fast enough right in the middle of the track that Jimmy can't do anything with him. Mark Martin has caught the back of the field, and he's starting to lap some of these guys. Things could be a little more difficult.
Yeah, Tony Stewart is the one that's getting ready to go down in lap 2 after taking that wave around. That car's just not running right tonight, Jamie.
He's been having trouble all night, Andy. I mean, we talked about the radio problems. He can hear his crew and his crew chief and spotter. They cannot hear him. Now, we saw him pit earlier. They exchanged the radio. That was not the problem. Still remains the same. Now, what they have is a backup helmet, and they are contemplating when to call their driver in to exchange that helmet so they can, again, have communication, guys, because things are not working out. He continues to go back, and he goes down a lap, guys.
They need to talk. They need to get this car straightened out. They need to be able to talk to each other so they know what's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he goes back to the old days and either tap the roof or the door, let them know if it's loose or pushing.
Now, one car that's on the move is the one car, Martin Truex Jr. And you talk about being a lame duck driver. He's leaving his team at the end of the season, going over to Michael Walker for 2010. But he wants to win one more for these guys, and these guys want to get to victory lane.
And he's got this baby high, wide, and handsome, guys. I'm telling you, he is up against the wall and digging. He's really getting a run, carrying a lot of speed through the center of the corner, but he's by far the highest running car on the racetrack.
And he's done it since really the first lap of the race. He was the first guy to go up there, and he's been committed to it.
And now running the bottom of the racetrack is the 17 car of Matt Kenseth, and he's dropping back a little bit. He's being shown back in 10th position, and what that does now, it puts him back on the bubble, 12th in the point standings. Vince.
Well, Matt was disappointed with the pit stop. He got late notice as to whether or not they were going to pit to begin with, and then they came in and got 4 tires. Since then, Kenseth has lost all grip, saying he can hardly hold on to the car. He has no grip at all in it, and as you might expect, with no grip, he's going backwards, and he can't afford to go backwards already in 12th
he can ill afford exactly events to go back any further. Now the ticker across the top of your screen, folks, you see the yellow number, that target going by there. These are cars that still have a mathematical opportunity to make the chase. The ones that are in the green are the ones that are currently in the top 12 in points and right now inside the chase criteria for making the chase for 09. Back up front, Mark Martin, the pole sitter, trying to get his 5th win in 2009. He got his 5th pole here yesterday afternoon. That's the 4 car of Scott Wimmer. And that car very popular in this part of the country, the Morgan McClure race team that Ernie Irvin first carried to victory lane here back in the 90s, and now getting back and hoping to be able to get back and run on a regular basis in NASCAR Sprint Cup competition.
Guys, I watch this race and see these guys. You see Mark Martin on the bottom of the racetrack leading the race. We talked about Martin Truex, who's picked up another spot up to the 7th, up against the wall. It takes me back to the days when I first started. This was an asphalt racetrack, and you could run everywhere on this racetrack that you wanted to. It was just a blast to run, and that's what it looks like we're having here tonight.
And what about the guy who won this race a year ago and this race 2 years ago? Carl Edwards, who started back in 32nd position. There's the 99 car.
Well, he's struggling a little bit tonight. Back there in 29th spot. And he's got Mark Martin in his mirror. There's not too many cars behind this group.
Very uncharacteristic of Edwards to have this much struggle on a track where he has been so good. Yeah, not much room between where he is right now and Mark Martin moving in on the bottom of the racetrack, getting by traffic. Dave.
And Doc, his car is improved after that round of pit stops. Even though they made no changes to it, the car has really come to him. 2 things. Sticker tires, much better for Mark Martin. Remember, they started on the tires they qualified on. Those were scuffs, so that's working for him. Plus, he radioed to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson. The balance is just right. That is music to a crew chief's ears. Shannon?
Well, Dave, it was the tires that were an issue for the 2 team of Kurt Busch when he first started this run. He said he felt like these tires were a little tighter than the ones on the previous run. The car is starting to come to him as he is hunting down the leader. Like I said before, this is a 5-time winner here, so Kurt Busch certainly knows how to get it done at Bristol.
So past the 100 lap mark here of 500 in the Sharpie 500 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Mark Martin trying to go to victory lane for the first time at this racetrack in 11 years. And you have to turn the clock back all the way to 1998 when Martin last won at Bristol. He won his first race here in 93, but his best memory driving for Jack Roush in that famous number 6. He was the one celebrating that night here at Bristol. Now Sprint brings you an inside look at today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race on the Now Network. Our current top 3 in points. Tony Stewart is our points leader. Our second in points right now is being shown as Jimmy Johnson. And third will be the 24 of Jeff Gordon. And the top speed now here at Bristol on the half-mile track. What do you think it is, folks? 132 miles an hour. That's flying on a half-mile racetrack.
Yeah, this straightaway is not very long here. Carry a lot of speed through the corners.
For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. Now, Carl Edwards, guys, getting lapped by our leader, Mark Martin. Vince.
Well, Carl Edwards, they've been searching all weekend and haven't found it. He came in on that last pit stop. They made wedge and track bar and air pressure adjustments, and he said the car was really good, and then it changed. Listen.
Yeah, something's wrong with it, Bob. It runs great the first couple laps. It's like we got camber messed up or something. Super tight.
He's won this race the last 2 years, but they got a lot of work to do if he's to contend for a 3rd straight victory, Doc.
Well, they really have some issues there. And Andy, you're hearing the driver say those kind of things. Where do you start?
It's really hard to fix that kind of a problem, and they'll keep working on it. They'll make some adjustments and try to free the car up. But if it's a core issue like camber, you can't really change that tonight during a pit stop and stay in contention. So, man, look at this one car, though. He is digging.
He is. He's flying. He got passed back. He'd already passed Kyle Busch, and Kyle took advantage there because the 98 was in Martin Truex's way. But he'll go back by him. He was almost to Montoya. He's making that high side work.
He's almost to Knoxville when he goes in the corner there. Look, he's way up across the racetrack, running right up on the outside groove.
Gets such a run off the corner, which just translates into a lot of straightaway speed. Even though the straightaways aren't long, if you can do that, you're making these straightaways longer by the way that he's driving this racetrack.
Used to call that the Harry Gant line at a lot of racetracks, because Harry Gant, the noted short track racer, and the guy you were the crew chief for many years, Andy, he loved running right up against the wall.
Man, he did. I call it the championship groove up there, man. He could get up there and dig. He did it better than most of them.
Here's Montoya and Kyle Busch. They're battling for 5th position. Montoya's got it. Kyle would like to have it. And these guys have been very aggressive back and forth. Rusty, you've been watching these guys.
Really have, Doc. I've been watching Montoya a lot. I'm really impressed with what this guy's doing. This is his 3rd full year of racing right now in the Cup Series. It took him a while to get his rhythm, get going, but man, I'll tell you what, he's been on a run of late. We all know how good he ran at Indianapolis, dominated that race before he had that problem. Finished 11th there, went on the Pocono, finished 2nd, went on the Watkins Glen, finished 6th. Had a little setback at Michigan, 19th, but man, he's been doing good.
He certainly has, and we have caution again here, Rusty. The 44 car on pit road, and there's the issues on the side of A.J. Allmendinger's Dodge. Caution for the 3rd time here, coming out now on lap 135.
Get caught up.
It's something they said debris, yeah, brake rotor. Oh, that's not good. They'll
definitely
be back in
debris
working
there.
on that, baby. That's not good at all. I noticed some brake rotors out there really glowing red, but that's not good. They'll have to fix that.
To show you A.J. Allmendinger's car now, that you can see the sparks underneath the car and just chunks coming out of the car. There's right in front of the Ryan Newman.
Yeah,
car.
Newman caught a piece of that, so
Yeah.
he's glad that caution came out. He can get those tires off. But now Allmendinger won't have any brakes at all. You can see how red the left front rotor is.
And our leader coming down pit road, Kurt Busch and all the leaders peeling off down off of turn 2 at 30 miles an hour. Let's go to Vince.
The 1 car, Martin Truex Jr. coming in. He's had a good run so far tonight. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment in both of those front tires, as you see the crew cam going to work there on the right front, now going to the left side. He says he needs a little bit more front grip, otherwise the car is good. Jamie.
Jimmy Johnson's gained 18 positions. He said he's snug in the center. It was 4 tires fuel. He's down and away.
Jamie Kurt Busch says he needs to turn a little bit better in the front, a half pound in the right rear for the 2 car. Dave.
42 of Juan Pablo Montoya is in. They'll make an air pressure adjustment for a car that was getting tighter. Also see a chassis adjustment as well. Mark Martin will take on 4 tires in Sunoco fuel. A little bit of air pressure out of the left front. It was getting just a little bit tighter, and it's close at the line, guys.
Boy, very close. It looked like Martin was going to get beaten, but he just was able to shoot out of his pits and just by inches get there in front of Kurt Busch. Again, that pit position in there, Andy, just what you were talking about right there at the exit of pit road there in turn 1.
That paid off for Mark, and Ambrose gained a couple spots there too.
How close it was there. Looked like Kurt Busch was going to get him, and now half a car length there by Mark Martin, with Biffle, then Johnson, the next 2 off of pit road. Well, the 1 car we are being told now was too fast on exit. 36.46 miles per hour, and it's a 30 mile per hour pit road speed with a 5 mile per hour buffer. And here's the Aaron's Lucky Dog, the 19 car of Elliott Sadler. He's the first car lap down, and he will get the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass. So a good break for Elliott Sadler, getting back on the lead lap. Major League Baseball continues on ESPN and ESPN2 with 4 teams battling for a spot in the Fall Classic. First on ESPN, Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. The Yankees roll into Fenway to take on their arch rival, the Boston Red Sox, at 8 Eastern time. Then catch Monday Night Baseball on ESPN2 at 10 Eastern as Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers take on Vladimir Guerrero and the Angels. ESPN News will be shown in both the Detroit and Los Angeles markets. Under caution for the 3rd time tonight at Bristol. Let's show you again what happened. Watch the right front here of the 44 car of A.J. Allmendinger.
You see a piece of that rotor comes apart on the right front and gets kind of hung underneath the car. You see the pieces coming out. Let's go down to Tim Brewer in our Craftsman Tech garage and see if he can explain a little bit about what happened there. Tim?
Thanks, Andy. Folks, take a look at the difference in the width of the rotors. This is a conventional package that we would run at a place like Atlanta, some of the intermediate racetracks. But look at the width of this particular rotor right here. And Andy, what I'm going to say, those guys sacrificed just a little bit of durability, because rather than coming up here with a big, thick rotor, They came up here with a little bit lighter package, and what that did, it didn't withstand that heat. And that's the reason I think that brake rotor failed.
It's always amazing to me that they take as much heat and abuse as they do. I mean, without braking. So I'm not really surprised when you see one come apart.
Yeah, and this used to not be a high braking racetrack, but since they changed the racetrack a little bit, and with this particular car, it seems to be more of an issue as we see Tony Stewart exiting.
He continues to have issues. Now, if you just joined our coverage, Tony is being shown a lap down here in the 14 car, back in 38th position. He has no radio communications, and and they certainly are having issues down there in the Stewart pits.
Tony, stop there at the start-finish line.
Well, Doc, they did not exchange the helmet. They had Tony come in for a second time in a row just now. They had a crew member leaning across him trying to plug in his helmet, plug in the radio to his actual harness. They still have not heard from Tony, but he is hearing the team.
Now, Tony has stopped here to get a lap back here. He had been on and off pit road.
He's actually giving a lap back.
Actually giving a lap back here to the field. He came off pit road and came up on the racetrack, so NASCAR holding him to let the field come by. So last week he clinched the spot in the chase and as the points leader, but boy, really struggling here very uncharacteristically at Bristol tonight.
Well, these are kind of nights that you hope you get out of the way before you get to those last 10 races. You don't want to have these kind of malfunctions, and hopefully you can learn something from it. But it has been a struggle with radio communication and with handling of his race car.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. I can't believe how far off they are tonight.
They didn't run that well here in the spring either as far as the 14 car is concerned. They struggled throughout the afternoon there. Started 15th, finished 17th, but did not lead a single lap here during the daytime race back in March.
Mark Martin's finally not going to have to start on the inside of the front row here. He chose the outside now.
So Martin the leader, Kurt Busch inside him, then Biffle and Johnson on the restart. Lap 144.
Johnson trying to take advantage of that outside lane here.
Yeah, Kurt Busch's car had been good on the inside for a few laps, though, so see if he's able to hold him off. Johnson fights back, though, on that high side. Jimmy Johnson has a fast car. We said early on that he was somebody to watch.
All the way from 21st starting spot, Jimmy Johnson now will take the second position away. We just joined our coverage. We've only had 2 leaders thus far. Greg Biffle led twice for 76 laps. Mark Martin now has led twice for 70 laps. The ticker across the top of your screen, the yellow indicates drivers that are eligible, at least mathematically eligible, to get in the chase. With now 2 more races to go, and the ones that are in the green are the ones that are currently in the top 12 in points. '18 car, Kyle Busch trying to hold off the 16 of Biffle and the 42 of Montoya.
You saw right in front of them David Rudiman in the 00. He's up in the 4th spot, having a great run tonight. Kyle Busch able to take that 5th spot away.
When I talked to David Rudiman last week, he was talking about, he said, I know we may not make the chase now because of our misfortunes at Pocono, but I want to prove to people that win I had at Charlotte was no fluke.
There goes Kurt Busch back to the 2nd spot. He's able to make that pass on the inside of Jimmy Johnson. That's pretty much a power move here tonight if you can do that.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Newman there in the 39.
This is for the 10th spot right here with Newman and Jr. Wow, look at Kenseth get loose off the corner.
Yeah, he's still battling that car. You see David Gilliland there in the 71 car having a nice run, as is Bobby Labonte in that group. Both of these guys having a good night tonight.
And Jeff Gordon back at the back of this group there, right behind Bobby Labonte's car. Gordon being shown back in the 16th position.
Up in front of this group, Matt Kenseth just having a horrible time with that race car. Just can't seem to find grip in the center or especially the exit of the race car, or of the racetrack. Vince?
Yeah, that's 17 of Matt Kenseth. When they came in on the last stop, crew chief Drew Blickensderfer apologized to Matt, and he said, when we came the first time, I put the air pressures the wrong direction. That's why your car went from pretty good to pretty bad. It was mean loose in that second stint. It doesn't look to be a whole lot better here in this one, but he is trying to hang on and make the best of it. Dave?
That red car, Clint Boyer, trying to fight his way back into the top 10 where he was, even with a tight race car. But on that last pit stop, they had lug nuts pop off, and they had to glue will hold him just right for the next pit stop.
Glenn Boyer trying to race his way into the chase. A year ago, he was outside the chase this time of year and was able to race in because of these racetracks. He's very good at Bristol and Richmond and has already been very successful in his career at Atlanta. Right now, got his hands full trying to make a move to try to get the 11th spot away.
Just to give you an update, Tony Stewart, he is 2 laps behind now. That lap that they were holding him was one that they tried to kind of make up there as they were making all of those changes and trying to get their radio communication better.
But the key thing is he's got this car now going around the racetrack. He's starting to pass some cars and looks a lot better than he has looked all night.
Back up front, it is Mark Martin, the 50-year-old pole sitter tonight. And Martin has now recorded 2 leads for a total of 82 laps. Back with more of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Pennzoil. Under caution here at Bristol, Tennessee for the 4th time tonight. Bobby Labonte's number 96 car went around here on the front straightaway. He was battling with the 11 car of Denny Hamlin. Let's take a look here.
And Denny Hamlin's in that lucky dog spot. He needs a caution. But right here you see Bobby Labonte just gets loose. I mean, no contact whatsoever by the 11 car. But Hamlin gets the caution he's looking for.
That's right. Gets him back on the lead lap now.
And he has got a good race car.
Yeah, he's really passed a lot of cars in these last couple of stints that we've had under green. You see, we were watching this, and it kind of looked like that.
I'll tell you, if it hadn't been for that one camera shot we had, that was some great camera work to show the gap.
Yeah.
And it had not been for that, that would have looked like he had tapped him maybe.
Bobby Labonte in the infield there, pulling it off, and there's the 11 car. He will officially get our Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass, being the first car a lap down. That'll put now 29 cars on the lead lap, with Bobby Labonte having gone to the garage area.
Jeff Gordon here on pit road now. They're still trying to get off sequence of these other guys. What do you think, Andy?
Well, they've gotten off sequence a couple of times and didn't take advantage of it, but here they are again, Shannon.
Yeah, guys, they're still working on the handling of this race car for Jeff Gordon. Too tight is the word that he's saying right now. He says it's not rolling the middle, so they're going to continue working on that chassis right there, a wedge adjustment on the right side. 4 tires for this 2014. They're trying to not only to get on pit sequence, but they are adjusting this car as much as they can to get it right for Jeff. Dave.
Casey Mears says the front is bouncing and the back end doesn't feel it's in the track at all. Track bar adjustment, 4 fresh tires, spring rubbers in both rears. Really struggling to get this car on track, guys.
Also in was the 17 car of Matt Kenseth, who had a handful of a race car. He came down, as you saw, Jeff Gordon. Here's a 99 of Edwards in. Vince.
Carl Edwards has been having trouble with this race car throughout the course of the evening. They've not made up much ground from their 32nd starting position. You see it's a 4-tire change. He's also been working the brakes very hard. Bob Osborne's been warning him, don't be too hard on those brakes. Jamie?
And Darian Grubb, crew chief for Tony Stewart, trying to communicate with his driver. Tony's using hand gestures. All that Darian knows at this moment is that Tony is tight. He doesn't know to what extent. You see them handing another radio to Tony. You see the cords hanging out. Nothing they have done tonight has worked yet. Now they've lowered the jack. They're handing it to his driver. Tony's got to mess with it. He's hammered down out of here, guys. He's got a handful of wires and a radio.
You know, I'm not sure the way they're running, they want to hear from Tony right now. They may not want a radio where he can talk to them, because he's got to be fired up and pretty upset. Back in a moment. Got a packed house here in Bristol, Tennessee. NASCAR Sprint Cup action presented by Pennzoil. Getting set to go back to green flag racing. Mark Martin is our leader. It's chosen the outside on the double file restart, and he hammers the throttle and pulls Kurt Busch by about a car length entering turn 1.
Boy, look at Kyle Busch work the top.
Just no respect for his older brother, just zipping right by him. And now Kyle trying to work the high line.
He's going to be on Mark Martin right here. He's got a big run going.
He is. Man, all the way to second on that. And Mark move up to try to block a little bit of that speed coming at him. Kyle almost gets in the wall off turn 2.
Yeah, had to get out of the throttle. Whoa! How about that? How about that little move?
Well, how about
brothers?
Yeah. Guess they don't agree on everything as brothers. Now, boys, see Ruderman still up there in that high line, running good, still here in the top 5.
Jimmy Johnson now trying to work on the inside of the 00 for position. Good look ahead at the Busch brothers in front of them. So I'm not sure if I want to get up there and play with those guys.
Here comes Ruderman trying to go to the outside of Kyle Busch.
31 car all
stacking up.
Chain reaction there in the turns. The 31 car Burton got punted from behind, and then the 9 and 19 got together.
It looks like Burton's got a little damage on the right side.
He was one of the cars that stayed out. Pretty much about the first 17 or 18 cars stayed on the racetrack.
It's always trouble for the first guy that does not pit. I mean, he's kind of a sitting duck for cars on new tires.
Yeah, Burton dropping back. He's being shown now in 26th position. Casey Kane going by and taking the 25th spot away. See this contact here from behind.
See a little contact right there. I believe we're going to see a little bit more right here as we get off turn 2. Well, really, Jeff just kind of got loose up there.
Yeah, I think Gordon was making him a little loose. But Gordon's got a fast race car, and that pit stop right there has put him on the move. He's at the 14th after that pit stop.
Still have 29 cars on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin, you know, right now showing in 29th position. And 42 and 47, Ambrose and Montoya.
I'm going to tell you, Montoya doesn't need to get in any push and shoving match here tonight. He needs to. No. This is one of those parts of the race that you got to just keep that temper in check.
Yeah, Ambrose in the 6th spot. How about this guy? This isn't a road course. What's he doing up there?
And back in the spring, Marcus Ambrose ran in the top 5 for much of the afternoon, only to fade late and finish 10th. Shannon.
And it was a great weekend for the 47 team. They were 3rd in happy hour. They made no changes to this car before the race started after that happy hour practice. Marcus Ambrose says the car is really good. If you guys couldn't tell by where he's racing right now, just a little bit tight in the middle.
Well, I'm going to steal Andy Petrie's line on Marcus Ambrose. This young man is a wheel man. He can wheel this thing.
Yeah, and I said what I said in jest because he does a terrific job driving this race car. Learning his first year in this series, doing a fantastic job.
We mentioned there are 29 cars on the lead lap. Why is that important? Because the 99 car right now is the first car a lap down. Carl Edwards.
He's in a hornet's nest, too. Look at this.
Trying to stay out. If he can stay out of trouble long enough and we get a caution flag, he would get the lucky dog.
Yeah, if he's not the caution flag here with all these cars.
And they were 3 wide there, splitting Junior.
Man.
Let's update the 88 car. Dave.
Guys, listen to the radio. Dale Jr. reporting to his crew just recently.
Don't be loose in. We'll just see how fast it goes. I'm just never going to talk about it getting loose no matter what, unless it's a problem.
Just battling a little tight right now. He said, you know, as long as we can get it loose, it won't be a problem with him right now. The good news is that they passed so many cars tonight. Remember, he started 27th, got shuffled a little bit on this restart, but he's passed cars tonight, guys.
He had worked all the way up to 6th position at one time, and here's a pretty good battle, 42 and 00. David Rudiman has a good race car. Montoya getting a little more aggressive than maybe some believe he should be. Right now, solidly in the chase.
Well, you still got to go after it. You can't just sit there. You know, he sees a car that he can pass. He's trying to take advantage of that. Ambrose has gone on past David Rudiman and taken that 5th spot away. Now Ambrose goes into, Montoya goes into the 6th spot.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with racing hard for these spots, but you just got to make sure that you don't get caught up in it.
And you don't ruffle anybody's feathers that's outside of that doesn't have anything to lose by paying you back at some point in time tonight.
So be aggressively nice.
yeah. When you hit a guy, throw your hand out and say, I'm sorry. Throw it up. I didn't mean to do that.
I'll give you a call this week. There's the 42. Okay, the 42.
My people talk to your people, and we'll do lunch or something like that.
Do lunch or something, yes, as long as I'm in the chase. Well, right now they're chasing that 5 car up front. Mark Martin is our leader. Martin has led 112 laps. Kurt Busch is 2nd. Kyle Busch is 3rd. Jimmy Johnson is 4th. And Marcus Ambrose is reeling in that 48 car.
Man, he's coming. He's got a good car. Look at this. You see, he's got a little damage on that right front where he's been rooting these guys out of the way.
I don't think he has a problem doing that.
No,
We've seen him be aggressive when he's had good race cars. See Jimmy Johnson get out of his way. He saw that right front corner and realized no reason to stay here. Yeah.
Jimmy's probably saying, where did he come from?
Jimmy knows how good Marcus Ambrose is. This is a great race car driver, and he's starting to run good everywhere.
And that's what you'll see throughout the night. You'll see different cars come up through there as they get their cars dialed in, get a good set of tires, and it works really good.
190 laps in the books here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And right now it is Kyle Busch running in 3rd spot, chasing older brother Kurt Busch in 2nd, and they're all chasing the man, Mark Martin.
Newman. And what's not on that screen, though, is Mark Martin. He's 100 points to the good right now.
Yeah, Brian Vickers, I'm really looking for him to get a good finish. He's got a lot of momentum, obviously, coming into this race. Greg Biffle started out tremendously, led a lot of laps early in this thing, 76 laps. He's dropped back to 14. It's going to be interesting, though. A lot of racing left and a lot of strategy to play out.
So let's go up to speed with Radio Shack and update how some of these bubble teams are progressing through their Bristol race thus far, starting with the race leader, Mark Martin. And looking back to Kyle Busch, who's just outside the cut line in points, Jamie, and right now he's running third on the track.
Well, he's getting the job done, Alan, so far. He came in 15th in points. Right now, as it stands, he would be 13th. He went into the office this week and had a talk with his crew chief, Steve Addington. Basically, they said, we need to come together if we're going to make this chase. Steve told Kyle, you need to explain to me what your car is doing. Don't give me short answers. Tonight, he has done just that, and they have worked on this car, and it has come to life. Dave?
Clint Boyer running 11th on the track. Jamie has lost a position in his chase contention, now shown 15th, and he's lost some points. Tight race car all night long. They can't seem to get it right, and they really thought they had a good piece for tonight. He started 6th. Shannon?
Dave, Ryan Newman holding steady 9th in the points right now. Crew chief Tony Gibson told me, of course they're nervous about where they are, but he realizes that all of the guys around him on that chase bubble are in this same exact bubble. Those guys have good days, and they have bad days, just like the 39. For the 39 today, it's pretty good, just a little bit loose on that car. Dave?
And then there's the 17 of Matt Kenseth. He currently sits on the bubble, 12th in points. His crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer, says everybody is stressed because they know what it means to make the chase. Matt has never missed the chase before, and they know what it means for sponsorship for this team and what it means overall for the company to make the chase. They're on the bubble right now. Jamie?
Well, the night started out pretty good for Greg Biffle. Started second, led a lot of laps here. Before, he'd only led one lap at the night race coming in. Car has fallen off a little bit, but they don't want to take big risks and make big changes. They need to secure the top 12 guys who are hanging on. They need to stay there in those top 12. Vince?
And the 83 of Brian Vickers. No car other than Tony Stewart has gained more points in the last 6 races than Brian Vickers. But it's a tough night tonight, and he's actually lost a spot down to 14. There's his crew chief, Ryan Pemberton, on the right. Pemberton says it makes you sick to your stomach when you come to Bristol because you know you can't control your fate. And then toss in the chase on top of that. It's a tough night for everybody. Jamie?
And Casey Kane running 27th right now. All night he's been saying he's just a big type. They made wedge, track bar, air pressure adjustments to try to get this car to come to life, but he's still lingering back there mid-pack. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thank you. And Mark Martin, who came in on the cut line tonight, started the race 12th in points. He's leading this event as they run now. Mark Martin shows 8th in the championship standings and goes from 12 points up on 13th to 100 points. But there's a long way to go in the night race at Bristol.
Mark Martin currently leads the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Bristol, presented by Pennzoil. But Martin is in heavy traffic trying to get by his former teammate Jeff Burton, and behind him the 2 car running in second spot is Kurt Busch. There's the 9 car. Casey Kane now on lap down. And just behind Casey Kane, you see that 47 car? That's Marcus Ambrose. He is now in 3rd position. And the last few laps, that 47 car has been the fastest car on the racetrack.
He's been bearing down on these leaders, but now this traffic has kind of stopped his progress just a little bit. You can see he's hung up behind a couple lap cars now.
Now, a few laps ago, you know, the 47 car actually was able to get around the current champ, Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy who?
That's right. Oh, he got by Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, he wasn't finished yet either. Look at this. He's passing Kyle Busch. It's a good run up the back stretch.
And now he is trying to chase down the 2 cars in front of him, the 2 car of Kurt Busch and Mark Martin. I guess they might have radioed Mark Martin, said that 47 car is coming because Mark turned the wick up a little bit that last lap out.
Well, he's trying to, but he caught Jeff Burton about 10, 12 laps ago, and he's not been able to get by him yet. Mark's been running the bottom of the racetrack, and Jeff's been down there, as we see here. Oh, almost contact right there.
Yeah, and Burton's doing everything he can. He's doing the right thing to try to keep his car on the lead lap.
Let's check in on the 5-car, Dave.
Yeah, what he doesn't need is that fender to be rubbed right there, being very patient right now and careful through traffic. However, his car is tight in traffic. Mark even said real tight. Then he corrected himself to crew chief Gustafson, and he said, well, that's really just because the tires are so old and we're in traffic. And Alan said, yep, I agree.
Yeah, Mark said that because he doesn't want him to over-adjust for this condition, because he knows that this is temporary and the car's been really good otherwise.
Yeah, each time he's been able to pull out on these restarts and get him a nice, comfortable lead. And the only time they really challenge him is whenever he does get in heavy traffic.
Man, with the traffic there, both the 2 and the 47 moving in. Look at Ambrose just now a car length and a half back behind Kurt Busch.
Well, Ambrose really caught on well to this racetrack.
Yeah, he has. See, Mark, he's pretty much married to that bottom of the racetrack. That's where his car really seems to be good. Obviously, the shortest way around, but he's really made it work. But whenever he catches traffic, it's a little bit of a struggle for him.
It'll be 20 laps away from half. We are almost to halfway, 20 laps away from halfway here in the Sharpie 500. And Mark Martin has led twice for 152 of 228 laps. It is Martin, Kurt Busch, Marcus Ambrose, Kyle Busch, and Jimmy Johnson, the top 5. I want to remind you, Monday Night Football coming your way. More preseason action. The big question, can the Jets rookie quarterback Mark Sanchez get it done against a very tough Baltimore Ravens defense? Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and the company. Monday Night Football preseason game on ESPN Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Now coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 7 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, ready for Monday Night Football to come back. Mark Martin's ready to keep leading this race. We talked about those guys had closed in on him, and he got through the traffic finally. And
he's had a few moments in that traffic, though.
And Mark Martin got to be careful he doesn't fumble here, because he's trying to get in the chase, and this trying to be very careful. A moment ago, a little bit of a tire rub here.
Yeah, you see, he's just struggling with these lap cars. He gets into Scott Speed a little bit with that right front. It doesn't look like it's causing any trouble yet.
Good thing that seemed to be was that's tire against tire, so
yeah,
a lot of times that's the best scenario if you're going to rub.
We showed you Marcus Ambrose had made a move all the way to 3rd position a moment ago. And what about the 42 car? Good run for Montoya and Jamie McMurray there in the 26 car. They are 6th and 7th on the track. You see the 7 car up high there. That is Robbie Gordon. He has shown 2 laps down in 33rd position. Dave.
And one of the things that has helped Juan Pablo Montoya run here again tonight, according to his crew chief Brian Patty, is that he likes this place and he isn't lost here. The feedback that Juan Pablo gives to Brian Patty is good feedback. They can help each other throughout the weekend and during this race. And, you know, sometimes when you just don't have a place figured out, your feedback ain't that great.
Now the 1 car behind this group, remember he got that pit road speeding penalty exiting pit road on the caution 2 stops ago, and now he has driven his car back up into this chase. He currently is in 8th position, so a great job by Martin Truex Jr.
He's gained 17 spots since the restart, so he's got his car on the move.
Vince?
Well, it's interesting when you listen to the radios up and down pit lane and the different drivers. It's rare that you hear somebody say their car is good, but that's what Martin Truex says. Really likes his race car, and you shouldn't be surprised, as you guys just documented, how he's moved back up through the field after that speeding violation. So Truex happy with his car, still trying to move further to the front. Boy, a win would be real big for this team here today.
A win would be big for this team, Vince. We talk about the fact that Truex knows where he's going in 2010, but this one team, a lot of decisions to be made about who goes in this car and sponsorship.
Maybe the guy that he just went around, Jamie McMurray, he's been rumored to be going to that 1 car, so we've got a lot of things happening right in there. As you see, Truex take another spot away from there, go into the 6th spot. See Jeff Gordon just behind this group of cars. He's having a nice run. They made some adjustments on that car. He's up in the 9th spot. The guy that's gained the 2nd most spots since that last restart is Denny Hamlin. Man, this guy was a lap down after a cut tire. He's up into the 13th spot now.
11 car, Hamlin, remember, he finished second here in the spring. Really good here at Bristol. Dave.
Well, you know, Denny Hamlin was 12th in points last year at this time. He was the guy on the bubble. So to come in here 5th in points, you'd think they'd have a lot more breathing room. But Mike Ford, the crew chief, says, we're approaching every race the same. We want to go out and win races. They were a little unhappy with their car. Certainly in qualifying, they didn't qualify well, 41st. But they found a nice balance in the practice, and they felt like they would have a good race car tonight. And that is certainly
34 into the wall.
You got one into the wall, guys.
It is the 34 car of John Andretti.
Come on now, quick.
And we don't have caution yet. NASCAR watching him pull down across the racetrack, and we will stay green.
Yeah, there's some parts coming off that car, look like there.
That could have been another brake rotor type situation.
Yeah.
His car just shot up in the middle of the corner, turn 1.
Well, see, that's a brake ducking, it looks like maybe. I can't see exactly from that shot, but something came off the car. Yeah, there's a brake duct hose.
Car brake, or did the tire blow right away? Tire's up. Tire is up. You might have broke your sway bar there.
And he feels like he had a flat tire, but they're saying the tire was up, so he must have broke a piece of the suspension there. Sway bar arm or something.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon doing a nice job of avoiding getting into him. Caution is out now.
Now they will throw the yellow flag out. The spotters are telling NASCAR they see more debris that's up on the racetrack. They're not sure it's rubber. They want to make sure it isn't metal, which would cut a tire and create some serious issues here at over 130 miles an hour on a short track.
Yeah, we saw some parts definitely coming out of that car, so that was a good move to throw the caution.
And I'm sure there were a lot of drivers on there hollering that there was definitely debris out there, because there's some guys that needed a caution flag right then.
Yeah, I played that game before. Even if you don't see debris, you're saying debris, man. Need that caution flag to fly.
Just past the halfway point here in Bristol, Tennessee, we have had 2 leaders tonight. Greg Biffle led twice for 76 laps, and then Mark Martin retook the lead after great pit work. Coming off pit road, he has now led the last 179 laps.
Put Mark on that bubble in that 12th spot, and he said, I'm just going to go get the job done.
Well, he said all along, he said, we've got the performance, and he's not worried at all about that. He knows if they don't have any bad luck, he's in this chase.
Last time Mark Martin led this many laps at Bristol was August of 1998, and he went on to win the race here. Right now he's going on the pit road to try to get some fresh Goodyears. Vince.
The one car of Martin Truex had marched his way all the way up to 6th on the board, and you want to make sure you don't speed on pit lane this time. He got a pit lane speeding violation the time before. You see the great view from the crew cam as they change the right side tires, a quarter pound out of the left side tires. They're going to also make a wedge adjustment. Other than Truex complaining that he's losing the nose late in the run, the car has been good. Jamie.
Kyle Busch said, let's work on longevity. I need to turn better. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. 4 tires, air pressure for the 18. He's down and away. Shannon.
Kurt Busch says the car is still a little bit tight. They are going to make an air pressure adjustment. You see him on the top left of your screen. 4 tires, and then Marcos Ambrose in the center of the screen. A great run for this 47 team. The car's a little bit loose. They're going to make a track bar. 4 tires for 47. Dave.
The right front tire they put on Mark Martin's car had 0.8 of a pound less air pressure to help the car turn just a little bit better. Don't over adjust, and oh, by the way, win the race off pit road.
And everybody taking 4 tires there. You see Jimmy Johnson, good work on pit road. He will gain 3 positions, and Matt Kenseth up 5 spots. Marcus Ambrose back 3 spots after driving himself all the way up into the top 3 here before the caution.
Just past halfway in the night race at Bristol. Our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series coverage presented by Pennzoil from Thunder Valley, Bristol, Tennessee, where a sellout crowd of 160,000 is watching Mark Martin lead under the 5th caution of the race. I'll look at our McDonald's race rundown now and set things up for you. Oh, check that. I got ahead of myself. Wanted to look at Kurt Busch first. All right, we'll do the McDonald's race rundown. I got the voice in the truck all confused because I started talking something else. Tony Stewart, radio troubles all race long.
Oh, yeah. When you lose your radio outlet, Brett's your momentum. They're all talking about how bad Tony's running, and he is, but I'm telling you what, his mind is not in the car right now. He's trying to get this radio fixed, and it's got his momentum and his rhythm all screwed up at the moment.
Greg Biffle led most of the opening portion of the race, first 65 laps. Then Mr. Mark.
Mark Martin has been just totally dominant tonight. He's led 184 of 260 laps. He is the man to beat. Everyone else is playing catch up.
And somebody making Mr. Brad smile. The car he co-owns, Marcos Ambrose, in that 47.
Marcos done a great job. Started 25th. He's worked his way all the way up to third. He comes out. He's going to be about 6 on this pit stop, after pit stop, but he's doing a super job.
And who said he's only a road racer, buddy? This guy can flat drive. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
2 leaders, 4 lead changes, 5 cautions for 31 laps. Relatively clean Bristol race so far, but we got a long way to go. Mark Martin, the leader, on his radio a second ago.
31 said, sorry he had to race you like that. He's a good boy. I knew what he was doing. It's all good.
And see, that's really key, though. I mean, a lot of these drivers know their other competitors really well. They get spun out by somebody else they don't like. They know that guy's something. But, you know, he trusts Jeff. Jeff trusts Mark. They really knew each other really good.
Now, seeing out the window of a car is kind of an important thing. So when you're running at high speed at Bristol in traffic and you don't have complete clear visibility, it could be an issue. Watch this 2 cars pit stop just a second ago. No.
Oh, I tell you, that's not good. That'll flat make a driver mad. But it's got enough vision right now, it shouldn't bother him. And maybe that thing just might blow off. That does happen. The bad part, if it blows off, it'll probably stick in somebody's grill and overheat somebody's motor.
And you're looking up when you come off the corner, right? You're looking up through the roof right there, where that thing's wadded up when you're in the corners here.
At this particular track, you're exactly right.
Woo. All right, time to go racing. Doc, 1 caution to the pit studio here tonight. We'll send it back to you.
Okay, guys. And a tearaway that did not tear away on the 2 car. And this should be a very interesting restart here. The 5 car has the outside line, and right behind him is the 1 car. Martin Truex, guys, has been coming like a rocket, and now he has the good groove on the top of the racetrack.
Yeah, Mark might think he's going to block him in the middle of the track, but Martin's running in another zip code up there sometime. So it'll be interesting to watch here as we get started. Here's the green.
Jimmy Johnson doesn't get in the throttle. Mark pulls him by 2 car lengths, and now Truex is there in 2nd spot.
Mark's got that baby hooked up on the restarts and everything else right on the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Truex. He takes the 2nd spot away.
That's pretty impressive for Martin Truex to get that penalty and before right here about halfway to get all the way back to 2nd spot.
The tear-off blew off of the 2 car. You see his clean windshield now. Now he's
we wonder whose grill it stuck to.
Yeah, those things can be so aggravating. You hate when that happens. Usually they won't come off when you want them to.
Jimmy Johnson now pulling back on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to retake that 2nd spot from Martin Truex.
Yeah, and the 47 and the 2 have a little disagreement right behind them over some space on the track.
And Kurt Busch will get that spot away. You look back at Jimmy Johnson taking 2nd, Kurt Busch taking 4th. Now that we talked about the tear-off flying off the 2 car, and the good news is it did come off for Kurt Busch. The better news for the people behind him is it didn't get on anyone's grill.
Okay, there it goes. Up and away. Now you can see just how much air these cars push around. They just keep that thing flying in the air until it finally gets up in the fence.
231 laps left here at Bristol, Tennessee. If you just joined our coverage, we've had 2 leaders tonight. Greg Biffle, who started on the outside of row 1, led twice for 76 laps. And then has been the ageless wonder, Mark Martin, the 50-year-old driver, has led now twice for 193 laps. Martin, our leader, Johnson in 2nd spot, Truex, Kurt Busch, and Marcus Ambrose doing a heck of a job in the 5th position.
Busch's car looks like it gives him a little trouble on the restarts.
Now you see how Jimmy Johnson's gained all this track position on that last pit stop. This pit road is a very difficult pit road to try to make time on, but you see Jimmy Johnson found a way to do that and not get a penalty. You see his pit stop just a little bit slower than Kurt Busch, but his total time is lower. It's just from the drive time on the pit road and off.
And look at Jimmy Johnson. He just drove underneath the 5 car to take the lead.
Leader, 48.
Yeah, he found out how to make a little time on the racetrack now, too, with some adjustments on that 48 car.
It's not just drive time on pit road.
Yeah.
And the 2 car now trying to get underneath Truex for 3rd position.
It looks like it may take Truex's car a little bit of time to come in, but he's not giving up that 3rd spot easily to Kurt Busch.
Back 5, let the 5 car back 5.
Okay, looks like a little swap for the lead going on again right here.
Yeah,
5 cars going back around Jimmy Johnson.
Dave?
And guys, Mark didn't want to let his teammate lead on the restart, put it in real perspective, saying the 5 car is more important right now. But as soon as they thinned out, they realized they could get it done. Jimmy Johnson's got his 5 points, and Mark Martin continues to try to lead the most and get another 5-point bonus for his team.
So a little bit of teamwork there. Mark Martin allowing Jimmy Johnson to get a lap led and 5 bonus points. Now Martin back as the leader. Back by him 2 laps later. So now Jimmy Johnson will be credited with leading 2 laps as our 3rd leader of the night. Here's Mark Martin's radio.
Hey, Mark, the 48's just inquiring if we get a chance to help him on 5. If we get stretched out and we can help him, that'd be cool. You know, just run your race and see what happens. Okay, the thing they got to understand is they don't need the 5, you know, as bad as we need to lead the most laps. So I'll be a great teammate, but I've got the 5 cars #1 in our heart here. Yeah, so far.
Yeah, I just got a question. I mean, we heard Dave say that earlier too, that they were just swapping that for those 5 points. But Jimmy doesn't need 5 points. He's 2nd in points right now, and this 5 car is right there on that edge of the bubble. I don't know if I would have. First off, I don't know why they even asked for it.
Yeah, that's the question, is why they would even ask for it and put Mark in that position.
Let's show you the bubble points here. You see there that Mark Martin now has gained 3 positions tonight. He came in 12th, as 12 points out of 13th, and now he has gained 110 points on that bubble spot, up 3 spots. And Kyle Busch has gained 2 now, just 65 back of being chase eligible in that final transfer spot.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson was credited with leading 2 laps there.
DJ, the guy you've been talking about earlier, the 11 car, is again on the move. Denny Hamlin now being shown back up in the top 10 in 9th spot.
Man, what a fast race car. Just been watching him go around here. He's able to pass these guys on the inside. Car looks like it's really turning well in the center of the corner. Gets a good bite off. Yeah, he was trying to pass Jeff Gordon while we were at commercial. See if there's not a little contact right here as they came off the corner. He gets slips by there. I believe you see Jeff Gordon smoking a little bit from the right rear. And that had happened. The contact had happened just the previous corner with that. Jeff Gordon starting to slip back some now.
Yeah, he's lost 4 positions in the last 5 laps. He's back in 16th position. Take a look at the right side of the 24 cars. He comes around. Yeah, there is some damage there.
Yeah, definitely got some damage on the right rear.
Cannon.
Hey, guys, this is not the only problem that Jeff Gordon has tonight. The handling of this car is terrible for the 24. They have been making adjustments. Track bar, wedge, air keeps getting looser and looser. The guys are on standby right now, possibly for Jeff Gordon to come down pit road if they need to make more adjustments or make some fixes to that damage on the right side.
He's losing a lot of spots right here. You can see he's slow. Junior passing him here.
That'll be for the 16th position as Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes by. Back up front, it is Mark Martin, the leader. His teammate Jimmy Johnson is 2nd. Then the brothers Busch, Kurt and Kyle, and Martin Truex in the top 5. Here are the current standings for the AT&T fastest pit crew of the year. Points are accumulated by the team who wins a race by fan voting and by an ESPN pick. And you can see Jeff Gordon right now atop those standings. Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, and Matt Kenseth. Those are the top 4. You make your pick for the AT&T fastest pit crew of the year by texting the car number for the pit crew you think is fastest and most valuable in each race to 2258. Standard messaging rates do apply. Fastest car on the racetrack right now and much of the night has been that 5 car. Now he's working traffic, trying again to put another lap on the 9 car of Casey Kane. There is the 5. It is Mark Martin, the leader. Johnson, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex, the top 5. Marcus Ambrose, Juan Pablo Montoya, Hamlin, Newman, and Clint Bowyer in the top 10. Now let's take you up to speed from 11th on back, 11th to 15, beginning with the 16 car of Greg Biffle and Jamie.
Well, Doc, he's the top Roush car running right now, and you know Roush
17 of Matt Kenseth. He's also 12th in points right now, so he can not afford any further slippage back through the field. The 17 of Kenseth, he says, it's a little weird right now. I'm real tight in the center, but I found a lot of grip elsewhere. Shannon?
Vince, great run from 55, but Michael Waltrip started this race 36, currently running in the top 15. He has been happy with the car. This is quite a turnaround from what they've had the past two races. His best finish was 30th in the past two races, so 55 looking good tonight. Jamie McMurray, who's behind the 55 on the racetrack, has one word to describe this race car: great. He has made slight air pressure adjustments all night long and no changes on the last pit stop. 20th or worse in the last 5 races, so a good run for the 26. Dave.
On the last run, Dale Earnhardt Jr. running right behind McMurray. Very, very tight. They made a 4-tire stop, made a wedge and air pressure adjustment. He restarted 24th, has went all the way up to 15th. Once again, Junior passing cars at Bristol. Vince?
The 77 of Sam Hornish, he's up 22 spots from where he started 38th tonight. Hornish has top 5s in 2 of his last 3 races, and he says the car is pretty good right now. Needs to be a little bit better in the drive off, but otherwise, they think they're pretty solid. The 29 of Kevin Harvick, boy, you talk about a team that needed something good to happen to it. They have not had much good luck this season at all, but Harvick's had a pretty solid run here tonight. They haven't made major adjustments to the car, and Harvick is working his way through the field. Shannon?
Vince, David Reagan riding that momentum from the nationwide win last season. A little bit tight for this 6 car all night long, but I spoke with Jimmy Bennick, his crew chief, this morning. He told me he feels like this team is starting to turn a corner. They had a great run going last week at Michigan, and right now they're pretty strong as well. Jamie.
Reed Sorensen had a hard hit in the Nationwide Series last night, but tonight he's just kind of hanging in there. He's working with that new crew chief, Sammy Johns, for the 2nd straight year, and we have a battle for the lead at the front of the field, guys.
Jimmy Johnson trying to go to the high side. Martin has been stuck behind the 9 car of Casey Kane, who is 2 laps down. And now Johnson will take the lead from Martin because of the traffic.
Yeah, Jimmy had given Mark a break there. He'd just been sitting trying to let Mark get around there, but decided to, as he saw the 2 car coming in his mirror, to take that outside line and try to make something happen.
And Casey Kane, by the way, I just mentioned he's 2 laps down in 31st position. He has dropped all the way down to 11th in the points. He has lost 3 spots right now in the point standing. So Jimmy Johnson is our leader. Mark Martin is 2nd. Kurt and Kyle Busch. Whoa, here's Martin now trying to go back on the inside. And Johnson holds off. 326 laps in the books here at Thunder Valley. Sellout crowd, over 160,000 in attendance watching NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action. And Jimmy Johnson, the reigning and 3-time Cup Series champion, is our leader. Mark Martin in 2nd spot. Kurt and Kyle Busch continuing to hold 3rd and 4th. And Martin Truex is in 5th position. We mentioned at the top of the show, this is one of 6 tracks where Jimmy Johnson has never won a race. And when he was asked about coming to Bristol a few weeks ago, he said, you haven't won on a road course. You also haven't won at Bristol. If you could win at Watkins Glen or Bristol, which would it be? He said, you know, I'm an oval track driver. I'm not a road racer. I really want to win a race in Bristol, Tennessee. Jeff Gordon is really struggling. His car has gone away now. He has been lapped by the leaders. Let's listen into his radio.
Yeah, right rear is rubbing just a little bit here. We're in trouble here. These adjustments are really bad. Just spin out on the exit, and I'm just loose getting in. Tighten the middle real loose when I go to the throttle.
Well, that's the story, the 24 car, and our Mr. Bristol, 9-time Bristol winner, Rusty Wallace, can explain to you what's going on with that 24 car. Rusty, it's very unusual to see him struggle like this.
Yeah, Doc, it really is. And one thing I've noticed about Jeff's car, the right rear quarter panel's got some big-time damage on it. It's actually sticking out in the wind. There's air getting underneath this car. And everybody knows in this sport, the right rear quarter panel on these new cars are very, very important. Jeff's complained about his car being very, very loose, and that's the reason. They just depended on his quarter panels, and he's got a problem right now. Now they can fix it on a pit stop. They can knock it down flat and get this car a little bit better, but that's the reason he's only getting lapped right here and can't do nothing about it right now.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rusty. Why don't we explain exactly what's going on with the 24 cars? We go down to our Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Doc. Rusty's exactly right. We worked on the side of the cars, but as you turn off in the corner, you actually use the side of the car as a rudder to stabilize the car, because as straight as this material is flat. Think about it, when you go into the corner, it's actually holding the air away. But if you bend the quarter panel up and shorten this area up, you give up that much. And anytime you give up square inches of surface on this side, you give up the car being loose, getting down in the corner.
And Tim, exactly, he is giving up position after position, and he got that damage on the right side there. And now he's being shown back in 24th position. He is the first car a lap down. Let's show you how the damage occurred on the 24 car.
See, this was when he was actually on the lead lap racing for a position right here with Denny Hamlin.
So that right quarter panel really it started the 24 car dropping back, and now he is still slowing. His car's going by. Jimmy Johnson has lapped him and continues to move on. It is Johnson the leader. Mark Martin in second spot. Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch. And another bubble contender, last week's winner at Michigan, Brian Vickers in the 83 car, about to be lapped.
He made up a lot of points by winning that race last week, but coming in here is losing just a little bit of ground.
And if you're going to make this chase, you got to be good everywhere. You can't give up anything, and this was an important race for these guys. And right now they're getting ready to go down a lap.
You know, you look at this board, all these cars are running virtually the same lap times. We're talking about hundredths of a second. Not a lot of difference in these cars. It's really hard to make up these spots here.
We saw these same two cars right here battling last week for the win at Michigan. But now Vickers is fighting for his life to stay on the lead lap.
He's not going down without a fight. You can see those brake rotors glowing red. That's I mean, that's pretty hot, but they can get actually hotter than that if you can believe it.
See Mark Martin closing back in a little bit. This is how he lost the lead to Jimmy Johnson, who's in traffic.
Our
battle again between the brothers.
Are back at it.
A little brotherly shove here with Kurt and Kyle. And Kurt on the bottom of the racetrack. Kyle trying to take the spot away. And if they play side by side too long, the Truex will come up and be able to be a factor.
Now this is Kyle Busch taking this spot away from Kurt. And he's catching the leaders too. Leaders are hung in traffic.
And it's exactly what you guys said at the top of the show. Kyle Busch he's got to get a top 5 finish to be able to hang close in this chase. And right now, Kyle Busch has moved to 13th in the points, just 55 out of that final transfer spot. Jimmy Johnson, the leader, 157 laps to go. Lots of motorsports yet to come your way through the remainder of the weekend. We got some Toyo Tires NHRA action qualifying tonight and the finals tomorrow on ESPN2. And how about NASCAR now? We'll wrap up everything that's happened in motorsports here at Bristol tonight at midnight Eastern time. And of course, Alan Bestick will host a roundtable discussion presented by Home Depot Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern. And next week we go north of the border to Montreal, the NASCAR Nationwide Series. That should be a fun race up there on the road course. That is Sunday, August 30th, 2 o'clock Eastern time, live coverage on ESPN2. Jimmy Johnson, the leader. Mark Martin running in second spot. And we're going to move back in the 8th place is the 42 car of Juan Pablo Montoya. Dave.
And Doc, in the spring race, he had his first Bristol top 10. He's working on that tonight, running in the 8th position, but he's having some difficulty with his brakes. Listen.
Get back in that little groove you was doing. We're good.
Well, the 71 car in the wall, and then we'll bring out the caution again here. David Gilliland getting up and having contact with the wall, having a good run after a very good qualifying effort here yesterday, but he has hit it pretty hard, Andy.
Yeah, he's got something going on there. I don't know what happened. A tire went down or something broke, but he went in the wall pretty hard, pretty hard with that right front.
He was having such a great run. He was still on the lead lap, had sponsorship there tonight.
Yeah, that thing just took off to the right.
Yeah.
That caution flag, not a break for David Gilliland, but it was a break for this guy.
Yeah, Brian Vickers is going to get the free pass, so that's going to get him back on the lead lap and give him another shot at making up some spots. Make some adjustments on the car.
That'll give us 22 cars now on the lead lap after Gilliland goes to the garage area. Here they come, 144 laps away from the checkered flag. This might be the final stop. We'll find out. Let's go down to Vince.
The one of Martin Truex has had a special kind of night. He says the car is pretty darn good just about everywhere, but right now a little snug in the center. A quarter-pound air pressure adjustment in the left rear. They're going to go up a half round on the track bar. Jamie?
Jimmy Johnson said he gets a little snug in the center as the run goes on. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel. They made up 3 positions on the last pit stop. The 48 team looking for their first win here at Bristol.
Jamie Kurt Busch said the car started off pretty good, but right now he's losing the track. The car is going loose. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment for this number 2 car. 4 tires for Kurt Busch, 5-time winner here at Bristol Motor Speedway, looking for his 6th. Dave.
Second place coming in. Mark Martin said my car could turn better, but I don't want to mess it up. There will be no changes other than fresh rubber and fuel in the car for Mark Martin. Let's watch the race off of pit road. It'll be Jimmy Johnson retaining that spot. Here goes Mark.
Boy, very, very close. And take a look, 4 tires there. Kurt Busch up a spot. Kyle back 1. Biffle, the guy's getting it done down there in the 16 team, up a couple of positions. And my crew chief beside me tells me that could have been the money stop. If we stay green, they may not come back to pit road. Back at Bristol, Tennessee, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action presented by Pennzoil. A sellout crowd, over 160,000 at Thunder Valley. And they have seen 3 different leaders, 9 lead changes. We've had 6 caution flags. The latest caution flag coming out for the 71 car of David Gilliland, who was on the lead lap and having a good run. After qualifying 12th, he apparently cut a tire, went up and bounced it off the wall, and has had to go to the garage area. Jimmy Johnson, our leader. Mark Martin in 2nd spot. Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch 3rd and 4th. And the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, really good. Let's update Gordon's tire. Shannon.
Hey guys, I told you how loose Jeff Gordon is. Look at this right rear that just came off the 2014. What does this tell you guys in the booth?
That tells me he probably had a tire rub. It looks like it's rubbing on the outside edge, and we kept seeing smoke off of that right rear quarter panel. So evidently that damage was rubbing the edge of that tire. That couldn't have been helping the loose situation, though.
Got to show you leader telemetry. The pace car pulls away. Let's listen to the spotters as we go full throttle with the Gree V12.
Ready. Green. Ready, green flag. Inside, inside. Clear outside, hold your line there. Clear inside. Outside. 14 outside still. Inside. All 2 by 2. That's the 1 right behind him now. 18. Still inside. The 1 still out there. He's there. Still all 2 by 2. Inside. Still there. Bumper. Clear. Move. Inside. Trying to come back outside. Clear. Inside. 18 is 3 back. Outside. Clear. 1 back, 2 car. 1 back. So far, really good change. Little loose on entry.
You don't think the spotters are busy at Bristol here when they turn 15-second laps? They are talking every single second. Jimmy Johnson pulling away now. Kyle Busch able to get by Mark Martin for 2nd position, and Kyle has yet to lead a lap tonight. And again, DJ, the guy you were talking about, the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, trying to make a move now inside of the 1 car for 5th spot.
Yeah, Denny's done a really nice job. He spun out qualifying yesterday, had to start in the back, then cut a tire down early in the race, went a lap down, but has made all that up and got himself back up into the top 5. Here goes Mark Martin trying to take that 2nd spot away. Kyle Busch. See Mark digging on the bottom. That's where his car's been the best all night.
If Martin can turn that car all the way down right there on the edge of the apron coming out of 4, and he'll hammer the throttle and take that spot away.
Boy, that's nice when you got a car that you can do that with. Woo, getting the gas like that. Mark Martin's good at getting in the gas, too.
That's the only car I've seen that good off the corner, launching off the bottom. Man, Mark Martin's car is hooked up.
Now Kyle Busch back in the clutches of his brother Kurt. Let's check in with Jamie.
Kyle Busch has been giving great feedback tonight. He just told his crew he has the best forward bike. They made a wedge adjustment, air pressure, and 4 tires on that last stop. Guys, it's all about team communication, and it's working tonight. Dave?
Jamie, as Mark Martin takes over that 2nd place, I asked his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, the hardest part about crew chiefing here. And as we get toward the end of this yourself in harm's way by pitting late, putting yourself back in the field, or leaving your driver out and not having the right tires for the end of the race. Andy, it's going to be a tough decision as we're inside 130 laps to go.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. I was sitting here while you were saying that. I'm thinking, man, they do have enough fuel to make it to the end, and that's going to make for some interesting decisions late in the race when these cautions do come out.
Marcus Ambrose hanging on under with Greg Biffle beneath him, and now Clint Boyer. And the 47 has been sideways the last couple of laps on the racetrack.
You see him move up the racetrack now. Going to make a nice run off the corner.
Now Biffle gets a little out of shape.
Yeah. Bottom side of the racetrack, your car has to be really, really good to keep your position or try to make a pass down there. We've only seen a couple of guys been able to do that. There's Clint Boyer trying to take that spot away from Greg Biffle. Here comes Ryan Newman on the outside also.
Ambrose being shown in 8th position, Boyer back in 9th, Biffle 10th. Ryan Newman now trying to get up in the top 10. He stayed right there about 9th, 10th, or 11th most of the night. So a pretty good run for Ryan Newman.
He's had a solid run tonight. We haven't said a lot about him, but he's been right hanging in there all night long. And that's what you have to do here. You just got to stay out of trouble, hang in there in that top 10, and things are going to develop late in the race that maybe get you a good finish.
Ryan Newman, by the way, making history by running all 4 events this weekend. Ran the modified race, the truck race, the nationwide race last night, and the cup race. And trying to get a top 10 here in the big one on Saturday night. Jimmy Johnson is our leader.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Bristol. Our coverage presented by Pennzoil. Looking down on the race leader, Jimmy Johnson, clicking off the laps. He's about to make it 1:17 to go as he crosses the stripe. There, you see the gap from Jimmy back to second place, Mark Martin. That is 1.3 seconds on his world's fastest half mile. Been quite a night for Mark Martin. In fact, been such a night, we're going to give Mark our Gillette in the clutch moment. Mark Martin making his 1,000th NASCAR start. 94 wins thus far, but more important tonight as Mark took the green from the pole, trying to lock in a place in the chase a few races from now. Mark's done a couple nice things towards that goal.
Well, he really has. He is flat getting it done tonight. He's led the most laps so far. He's grabbed the pole position for this race. He's been in the top 2, Brad, all night long. This cat's flat flying.
He has done everything he possibly can.
To find out how your favorite athletes prepare for success, go to ESPN.com and search Locker Room Report. So Mark Martin has led 239 of the 500 laps. Got a $1:15 still to go. Wonder if he's got anything left for his teammate Jimmy Johnson in front of him. Boys in the booth.
Very interesting. You know, here's the guy that Jimmy Johnson, if he wins a race, he will tie Mark Martin for 4 wins on the season. If Mark does get in the chase, and you know that Mark right now would have been the #1 seed in the chase.
Well, I still think Mark Martin wants to score enough points to make the chase. I think he would love to have that win, no doubt, but he really needs this top 5 finish tonight.
And how about this guy here who a year ago went in as the #1 seed in the chase and fell like a rock after the first couple of races. They struggled at New Hampshire and Dover, and now he'd like just to be able to get in the chase as a 12th seed.
He said this week, he said we need 3 top 5 finishes to make that happen. He said if we do that, we'll find ourselves in that chase. Tonight he's doing a great job. You see he's passed his brother Kurt Busch for that 3rd spot. So he's doing a tremendous job.
And what a struggle tonight for our points leader, the 14 car of Tony Stewart, being shown 2 laps down in 29th position. There's the 29 car of Kevin Harvick, and he is battling for 15th position with Reed Sorensen. Sorensen having a pretty good run, qualified in the top 10. He was the best Dodge in qualifying and trying to get a top 15 finish tonight.
Yeah, he's done a nice job keeping himself out of trouble all night. Kevin Harvick, normally a contender here, but we've seen him struggle some tonight as he tries to make this pass on Reed Sorensen. Not a typical night for Kevin Harvick at Bristol. We expect to see him up front battling, making passes for the lead.
And what about the guy who won this race a year ago and the year before that, the last 2 August races, Carl Edwards in the 99 car? Talk about disappointments. He's got to be frustrated. He's sitting in 24th spot, a lap back.
Yeah, it's a surprise to me that Carl Edwards is struggling at Bristol like he is tonight. But there's his teammate David Reagan. He's on the lead lap in 18th position.
car there battling. He's the second car a lap down, as Jeff Burton is the first car a lap down, as you see up there, our in-race reporter.
See Burton up there. They have this team, the RCR team. It's hard to believe they had 3 cars in the chase a year ago, and right now they don't have any cars that have qualified for the chase thus far, and they don't have a single win in that entire team.
Yeah, he is in that lucky dog spot right now, but Jimmy Johnson has caught Brian Vickers, who was the last car on the lead lap again. You see they have been locked into a little bit of a battle for that, for Vickers to stay on the lead lap.
There's the 24 car of Jeff Gordon, who still is third in the point standings, but it has been a struggle of a night here for the 5-time Bristol winner. Gordon being shown a lap down in 26th spot. 21 cars on the lead lap, all being led by Jimmy Johnson, and Johnson trying to thread the needle, and that was a potentially dangerous move.
Oh man, they've been locked into this battle here for a few laps. And Jimmy trying to get by, and he didn't want to try that bottom side. He wanted to try to get on the outside of Vickers so he didn't have to struggle on the bottom and really overheat his tires, and he made it work.
Yeah, he had already tried that one time. It took him quite a few laps. Nice move there by Jimmy Johnson.
And he does to put Vickers a lap down, so now just 21 cars on the lead lap. Just over 100 laps to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway. It is Kyle Busch trying to get a win. He is chasing Mark Martin, the pole sitter, and they're all chasing Jimmy Johnson, our leader. Carl Edwards, Greg Biffle, and Matt Kenseth are driving the all-new 2010 Ford Taurus, and you could be too. Go to I'mDriving1.com to hear what the stars of Ford Racing have to say and register to win your own 2010 Ford Taurus. Carl Edwards in the 99 car being shown back in the 24th position. And the Roush Fenway cars have won the last 4 August night races in a row. And right now the best Roush Fenway driver is Greg Biffle, and he's up in 12th position. It's been a Hendrick Motorsports night here in Bristol, Tennessee. Jimmy Johnson at a track where he has never won is our leader with just 92 laps to go. Mark Martin behind him. Martin will get the bonus points for leading the most laps. He has led 4 times for 239 laps. He's in second spot. Kyle Busch back in third. And the 18 car has yet to lead a lap tonight, but he's had somewhat of a victory because he's now moved to 13th in the points, just 49 behind 12th position. And the 24 car of Jeff Gordon being lapped again. Now he's being shown 2 laps down in 27th.
This 18 car is coming pretty strong, getting through this traffic fairly easily. Mark Martin struggled a little bit with that traffic right there.
There's the 2 car of Kurt Busch back in the 4th position. Kurt is a 5-time winner, and I'm sure this has to feel pretty good given the frustrations of a 36th place finish last week at Michigan. Shannon.
Yeah, these guys have been crawling out of a hole all race. They got themselves in it last week. They went from 4th to 6th in the point standings with their 36th place finish, but they have certainly rebounded today. They've been running top 5 all race long. Kurt Busch had the last adjustments on the car, which was an air pressure. Started off very good, but now the car is going a little bit loose off. Good run for the 2 car tonight.
Moving back behind them, the 11 car of Denny Hamlin. In 3 of the last 5 races at Bristol, Denny Hamlin was the car that was passed for the final lead change for the win. So he's been a factor many times here, but now trying to get up there and be the guy who makes that final pass. Vince.
Well, and remember, Denny Hamlin had a flat tire early in the race, so he really started in the hole. Not only did he start 41st, but then in the early stages of the race, he had a flat tire. So Hamlin, very good on short tracks, but he has earned every one of those spots here tonight. He's finished 2nd and 3rd in the last 2 races here at Bristol, and he's trying to get his way up toward the front again. 5th currently.
How about these 2 guys back here? The 88 car coming off that 3rd place finish at Michigan. Good run for Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Clint Boyer.
Up here.
Let's update the Clint Boyer situation, Dave.
And his crew chief, Shane Wilson, told me today this is all about grinding out the top 10s, trying to get to the chase. He's up to 13th now, and that may be because the car is finally coming around. Mark it down, lap 395, and this tight race car was finally loose on the throttle.
Spoke with Clint before the race began tonight. He was excited about just getting out here and said, I want to get a good solid finish, stay out of trouble, and be able just to gain some points. If I can walk away with a top 5 and maybe even a top 10, I should be in good position to maybe get a shot in this chase. And Sam Hornish has been here 3 times, folks, and he had yet to have a top 25 finish. But this run tonight, by far his best at Bristol.
For rain, caution.
You heard the reason. Caution number 7 on the night, and there are some raindrops falling here in Bristol, Tennessee. And the forecast today was for minimal to no showers. I mean, they basically had less than 10% chance of rain, which is that's what we had in Michigan last week when it was raining early on. But hopefully a passing shower. Just 79 laps remain here at Bristol.
Certainly will have to make these crew chiefs think a little bit now, Andy, about what they're going to do.
Yeah, I'll be wanting to look at the radar to make my decision right here. This is a tough one.
Yeah, up here in these mountains, how do you trust that thing totally, though? That would be tough to say that's what you're going to base your decision on. I'd have to think that if they're going to, a lot of these guys are going to base it on that.
You can see them all. They're all agonizing over this decision on what to do here.
One guy who likes the fact that it's raining, this guy right here, Brian Vickers, he will get the free pass. Lucky dog free pass. He's the first car lap down, so he'll get to go back around Jimmy Johnson, and that will give us now 22 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, Sam Hornish had battled there and stayed on the lead lap, so that's why he wasn't one. So Vickers
Okay,
got
pit
that.
road's going to be open this time by. We're going to see what they're going to do. They have enough fuel to make it to the end.
4 tires here.
Okay, you hear Chad Canals call for 4 tires on Jimmy Johnson's car.
You have to think that somebody back there on the lead lap is going to gamble and stay out there for a little while.
Well, I would. If I was one of those cars, so at least at the tail end of the lead lap, I'd stay out and maybe hope for rain. We saw that really pay off for David Rudiman in Charlotte earlier in the year.
Lead lap cars coming down on the back stretch. Let's go down to Vince.
Denny Hamlin in the 11. He's up to 5th place. He said the car's still a little tight in the center, but they made him loose off. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and rear wedge adjustment. Jamie.
And with the raindrops falling, it was a risk to bring the 48 in. He decided 4 tires last minute. You see him having a little problem, extra long there. It's stuck on the right rear, Shannon.
Jamie, Kurt Busch wants his 2 car tightened up a little bit. There was a wedge adjustment, 4 tires for this car. Kurt Busch says the handling is just a little bit off, and they will want to win this race tonight.
Mark Martin all the way down in turn 1.
Go ahead and wheel that thing back in here. We'll get you a new right rear tire on there.
You see a race off right here. A couple 2-tire guys. Ryan Newman is going to be one of the first off pit road.
There comes the 18 off.
Yeah, just come on around.
Trying to get there, and the 5 will get the 18.
They see Newman gain 10 spots by getting those 2 tires.
And the 55 car stayed on the racetrack.
Yeah, and Rudiman gained 8 spots, got 2 tires up in 9th off pit road.
A good move, 2 tires.
Yeah, that was a good move, but maybe even a better move could be Michael Walker. He stayed on the track.
Jimmy Johnson back on pit road. Heard him talking about the right rear tire. Jamie?
They had an issue on the right rear. They said, come back down. We'll give you a new one, guys. This could be the turning factor for the 48 team who was looking for their first win here at Bristol.
I wonder what the problem was. Did they not have a lug nuts tight, or is it something wrong?
I heard Chad say get back in here and we'll get you another right rear tire on it. So apparently a mistake on somebody's part as to which tire went on there.
Well, let's take you over the wall here with front tire changer Dennis Terry for Martin Truex Jr.
Here we go. Oh, pit road's wet. That's how we count it, ECR. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, you heard him say that pit road was a little wet.
And a brief shower. That's the reason for this 7th caution flag. Just a shower that came over, and the rain has moved away. They have made pit stops, and Michael Waltrip stayed on the racetrack, so he is being shown as our leader.
Caution for a rain shower here at Bristol. We take a minute, remind you about Toyota Tires NHRA Nationals coverage. Qualifying late night tonight, 1 a.m. Eastern. Finals tomorrow, 10 Eastern on ESPN2. NASCAR Now wraps up tonight's Bristol race at midnight tonight on ESPN2. And our Monday roundtable presented by the Home Depot, 5 Eastern, ESPN2. We'll kick all the subjects around. Next weekend, Sprint Cup Series off. Nationwide Series on the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve Road Course in Montreal. That's next Sunday at 2 Eastern on ESPN2. Sprint Cup Series returns to action the following weekend at Atlanta. That is what's upcoming on the motorsports calendar. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, Jimmie Johnson was the race leader going down pit road. He's now 21st on the racetrack. Jamie mentioned a problem on her call of the pit stop on the right rear on the 48 car. He came down pit road a second time. Here's the first pit stop.
Oh, yeah, he comes down pit road. The guys run around and doing a normal stop. Watch a jack man here. Jacks the thing up. Guys pull the right side tires off, and they're starting to have a lug nut problem failure right here. Lug nut's falling off. Let's take a look here. Guy drops the jack. Still working on the right rear corner right there.
He just dropped that jack too quick, and what happened is you can see the tire just kind of gets stuck out on the edge of the studs. He goes ahead and puts the lug nut on, but the tire's cocked, and as he goes back around, they get to the other side, you'll see this car take off, and that right rear tire is loose big time. May have just cost Jimmie Johnson a chance to win this race.
Tire carrier was waving when he went around on the car. Look at the right rear tire.
Yep, look at that thing. It's out of balance. Man, that is a big mistake that they rarely make on Jimmie Johnson's race team. Jamie, you got more?
Exactly. They were great tonight, Brad. Mike Atwell is the rear tire changer. You see him on the right there. He's pointing at the monitor. He said when he went to put on that right rear tire, as you said, Brad, it was cocked. He never did get it tight. They had to come back in and put a completely different tire on it. Tough break for this 48.
So Jimmie now 21st in line after the second pit stop instead of leading this race. Michael Waltrip did not pit. He's the leader. Ryan Newman writes only he's second. Mark Martin won the race off pit road for the guys who took 4 tires.
Set for the restart at Bristol, Tennessee. Michael Waltrip stayed on the racetrack, and he will lead him down. Ryan Newman, who took 2 tires inside of him, and then the guys behind him took 4. Kyle Busch now gets the advantage on the high side and is now going to try to move in front of Mark Martin. He will take the 3rd spot away.
Michael's on some older tires here than what these guys, but Ryan Newman only has 2. See Kyle Busch really trying to push Michael to get that car out front to where he can get that 2nd spot. Michael Waltrip goes way high.
And Kyle Busch trying to, neither one of these guys, Ryan Newman or Kyle Busch, have led a lap tonight. One of them is going to lead this lap. Looks like it's going to be Kyle Busch coming out of turn 4. So he will be officially credited with leading a lap here at Bristol.
Yeah, that's 5 more very valuable points to him in his quest to try to get in that top 12.
See Montoya, he's hanging right with these guys too. They've pulled away about 4 or 5 car lengths from the rest of the field.
Mark Martin now moving on the inside of Newman to try to take that 2nd spot away.
Yeah, I think this is Mark Martin's race to win now that Jimmie Johnson's had his problems on pit road, but Mark really loose as he's trying to pass Ryan Newman.
Root back here behind him. You see the 00 Rudiman only took on 2 tires. See Kurt Busch.
That's got them all bottled up back there.
Denny Hamlin. These guys took 4, but they're back 2 by 2 there in traffic.
I think right now this racetrack's still pretty slick. I think Kurt Busch has some kind of problem in that 2 car. Yeah, he can't get his car to do anything that he's wanting to right now, and that's got everybody jammed up.
Clint Boyer on the bottom of the racetrack behind the 1 of Truex.
Whoa, little contact.
Whoa, man.
Man, that was close right there to being a big one.
Right side of your screen, Mark Martin still can't make a move. Last time he tried to go on the bottom of the track, the car slipped coming up off the corner.
And we're seeing 3 wide racing through the corner at Bristol. We don't see that a lot
right here.
And Jimmie Johnson gets.
Whoa, look at that, big stack up.
One inside, one inside.
Oh, Kurt Busch gets turned and he has got damage. He will continue on the 29 car of Kevin Harvick. And there's the 2 car who got roughed up last week at Michigan, got an abysmal finish, cost him a couple of spots, and here's Harvick.
Yeah, he's not too happy. He's trying to get his car turned back around so he can get going.
Back up the can a little bit. We need to go to the open over here. Hold up, go left if you can.
Yeah, just a little more frustration there added to the already frustrating season that he's had so far.
You can see that brewing, though. That was
something that had to eventually happen. You couldn't continue to run 3 and 4 wide around this racetrack.
And a big break for the 99 car, Carl Edwards. By virtue of this 8th caution flag, he will be the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass winner and get his lap back. Here's the 3 wide at Bristol, believe it or not.
At least 3 wide.
Yeah, at least 3. It looked like it was trying to be 4 wide. Everybody trying to find their spot, and you see, looked like Casey Mears may have had to get out of the throttle a little bit.
Yeah,
Sam
77 got in the back of him. 2 car was having a lot of trouble, though. Harvick was in trouble in front of this group, though.
Still outside.
He gets into his teammate right there.
Wow.
Got hit from
I believe he
behind.
might have got
Got a bunch of damage here, guys.
hit by his
Front end
teammate.
damage.
Jimmy Johnson on pit road. Jamie.
And you see the guys, they brought him on down right sides, and now they're going to the left sides. Guys, this team is demoralized right now, but they're just trying to make the best of what they had. Goal tonight was to finish in the top 10 to clinch a spot in the chase. Not sure they're going to do that, Shannon.
Jamie, a lot of emotion on the 2 radio right now. Kurt Busch was having such a great night. I told you earlier that they were buried in the points, 6th in the points after their finish last week in Michigan. So these guys were really looking for a good race here today, and they had it going. They're going to take 4 tires for this 2 team, try to fix some of that fender damage and get Kurt Busch back on the track and try to get him some positions.
Kurt Busch, who lost 2 spots in the points last week at Michigan, having such a good run, been in the top 5 most of the night. Now watch Jimmy Johnson. He was on the bottom of what was potentially a 4 wide race at Bristol.
And you see all this going on right here, and you see Casey Mears get out of the throttle just a little bit. I don't know if he saw something develop up ahead. He was slowing down for this crash with Harvick and Boyer. And don't forget now, Clint Boyer's the only one of the RCR cars that really has a chance to make the chase.
Spinning again in front of you. Clear.
Last thing you want is your teammate taking you out.
There's Harvick's car, what's left of the front of his car, heavy damage there. They're going to try to, I'm sure, repair and get him back on the track.
And we saw now what made Casey Mears get out of the throttle.
Yeah.
We saw that develop up ahead.
I think Tony Stewart's got some kind of problem. His car is stalled and he can't get it going again.
Man, he has had a rough night.
Jeff Gordon on and on pit road again as he will move down. Paul Menard in. Carl Edwards, who got the lucky dog, has been on pit road now getting tires.
Gordon's back to just 1 lap down. We mentioned just before that restart that he stayed out there. He got the wave around, so that put him back to just 1 lap down. Comes the record to give Tony a push. Says radios wouldn't work to start with.
Or something there.
His car was jumped for a while.
Working.
Now it's just quit. I think the whole thing just quit.
This will be a night that Tony Stewart's going to want to forget.
Yeah, Clint Boyer just barely beat the pace car.
Caution for the 8th time tonight. It is typical full contact stock car racing, Bristol style. Back with a restart in just a moment. Back at Bristol, Tennessee, just 54 laps remaining here in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Pennzoil. Well, there's the damaged car of Kevin Harvick. Let's go down and talk to the driver.
Well, it's unfortunate, too, because Kevin was having a solid night, kept inching his way up through the field. What happened on that sequence there, Kevin?
Yeah, I got in the back of the 33 and just tried to check up and let him get everything gathered up. I just got in the gas a little bit sooner than he did, and I think the 26 just kind of got me from behind there. Not his fault, just normally in that situation you don't check up for somebody, but I wanted to make sure that the 33 had plenty of room. I didn't want to be the one to, to ruin his chase stuff, so just tried to give him a little extra room and wind up crashing myself.
Is that kind of what happens at Bristol?
It is when you run in the middle of the pack.
Kevin Harvick, frustrating finish to the night, guys.
So his car behind the wall, and his teammate Clint Boyer has been on and off pit road several times, just been able to come in and make some extensive repairs as they're working on the 29 car, trying to get him back on the racetrack. Now we saw the 14 car stopped on the track a moment ago. Tony Stewart, he had to get an assist from the wrecker. Jamie, what was going on?
Problems just keep getting worse, Doc. They said the battery had voltage, but it just stopped. They thought it could be the kill switch. Tony Stewart inside saying the yellow light kept flashing on and off. They said to unhook it if he can. They finally got it fired. They're keeping an eye on him to see if it cuts out again. Tony just came on the radio and said, guys, I'm glad it happened on a night where we're having so many problems already.
The 33 car now has been in twice and now a third time under this 8th caution flag. You see the damage on the front of his Chevy.
He's coming in every lap trying to get all this fixed. You can see he's got a lot of damage they've got to try to get repaired. Dave, how much headway have they made?
Well, yeah, and it's been like 5 or 6 times now for Clint Boyer. He keeps speeding off pit road to beat the pace car out. But they have taken off that right front fender, as you see. They believe it to be straight and true. And now that they called off the restart, I do believe he is going to stay down here and do a little more repair.
Remember, Tim Brewer said at the top of the show, you got to keep that nose clean and get air to the radiator, and they're going to try to patch it up as best they can before we go back to green in just a moment. Back at Bristol, NASCAR's given a couple of drivers some verbal warnings to get in line, the 48 and the 2, and now we will get in line and they will have the restart. Kyle Busch, our leader. Ryan Newman in second spot. Back in third, Juan Pablo Montoya continuing to have a great night here at Bristol.
Now he got after that second spot.
Yeah, he had the luxury of starting on that outside lane, and that's been the place to be on these restarts. You see, he gets a spot for Mark Martin and going for another one right here.
Yeah, Dale Jr.'s up in top 5 also in that 5th spot now.
Marcus Ambrose on the inside of Dale Jr. trying to take the spot away.
Oh, got a little contact there with Mark Martin and Newman. Newman does a great job to save it at the end of the backstretch. And got more contact.
Mark Martin got to be very careful on the high side. He's gained a lot of points at positions here. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind him trying to decide who he follows. Less than 50 laps to go here in the Sharpie 500. And the 14 car, by the way, our points leader, Tony Stewart, headed to the garage area.
And Mark Martin knows that payoff window's opening up here in about 45 laps. He's trying to make all the spots he can here.
You know,
man, look at this move.
Montoya having a little trouble getting off the corner there.
You see that move? Mark Martin dove that car right to the bottom and gets that spot.
Montoya's got a problem, I believe.
Awesome job, man. All right, now hit your mark. Go get that 18.
Well, look at Marcus Ambrose go underneath the 42 car.
Yeah, he's having a problem.
Get up on it right now.
I don't know if Mark Martin is as concerned as we see the 42 still having more problems.
Stacking up off 2. Montoya definitely has a problem. He's holding this. Oh, we got Sam Hornish in the wall.
Hornish up, and he was overheating, we're told, on Sam Hornish. He's bouncing off the wall, and that will bring out the caution.
Kyle Busch is not happy to see that. He had pulled out to a huge lead. And I'm sure Mark Martin probably really didn't want to see it because he's gotten himself in second. Now he's going to have to start on the inside again and battle these guys.
You see all the water just pouring out of the 77. I'm not sure if this is what causes him to crash or not. Yeah, you can see he just gets, yeah, all the water gets on that right rear tire.
So you put those things up there for a reason so the driver can see that happening
and then slow down.
Give you an idea.
Yeah, you got a problem. Gets up on the wall pretty hard.
No penalty here. All good.
So Sam Hornish will stay on the lead lap and still in the top 20. And there is our points leader has been back on and off pit road and back through the garage and back on the pit road. Just been an abysmal night for Tony Stewart. Radio problems, the car not running well, electrical issues, battery shutting off, having to get a push on the racetrack. Stewart being shown 11 laps down in 34th position. Pit road, there comes a 2 car of Kurt Busch back down, the 33 of Clint Boyer. Trying to make as many repairs as they can on these guys to get as many spots as they are able to on the racetrack here in the final 40 laps. Well, a year ago, Kyle Busch came here to Bristol in the night race and just dominated the night. Led 415 laps and did not win. Tonight, he has not led that many laps, but he has a good shot of winning the race.
Trying a new strategy this time. Not go out and show them everything we got till the end.
Clint Boyer again trying to get some help on his Chevy.
Trying to get this 77 cooled back down, get him back out.
And in spite of the issues, this would be Sam Hornish's best finish in his career here at Bristol. Back in Bristol, Tennessee, they waved off the restart here. So the final laps of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Pennzoil. Kyle Busch is the leader. He will have the outside lane. Mark Martin on the inside. We just joined our coverage. Mark Martin has led the most laps tonight. He led 5 times for 240 laps. That will help him in terms of the point standings because Martin will actually gain a couple of spots. Well, if you like the racing you've seen tonight, there's a lot more to come. We got 2 more races before the chase begins. We go to Atlanta Motor Speedway, then up to Richmond under the lights, and then the chase begins at New Hampshire. What a chase it should be here, the 6th year for the NASCAR Sprint Cup chase for the Sprint Cup. The 42 car, Juan Pablo Montoya. Let's go down to Dave.
He lost 4 positions on that last restart. So loose he thought he was going to wreck. He was being told all the other cars were loose as well. They thought all the tires were up. No problem. He just got to drive it, guys.
They got to drive it. 38 laps to go at Bristol. 22 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Busch and Mark Martin side by side in row 1. And Martin trying to hang on that restart.
I tell you what, you better not count Marcus Ambrose out of this race.
And Montoya's got a problem off turn 2. He does have a problem.
I couldn't figure out why they didn't pit there.
Montoya still sliding back in the pack.
Yeah, he's going to have to struggle to get to pit road and not get wrecked.
Well, that's a real gamble they took, knowing that car was falling back.
But Ambrose did get that 3rd spot, Dale, away from Newman.
Ryan Newman looking.
Got a flat tire. Just keep digging.
Ryan Newman looking at the inside. And
flat tire, keep digging. That's pretty hard to do, guys.
47 car, Ambrose is 3rd, then Biffle, then Newman. Dale Earnhardt Jr. back behind Newman, battling in 6th spot.
Yeah, Biffle back up in the mix of this thing. See Matt Kenseth there trying to take a spot away from David Ruderman on the outside.
And the 42 car is on pit road.
Pit road speed here.
Well, watch this action on the racetrack here. 17 00 48. That's 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Mark Martin's got his side set on the leader, Kyle Busch.
Dave?
And guys are going to take the gamble that Andy hates. 2 right sides only. They think it's a right side tire going down. Andy, if it's the left side, they're in trouble.
Yeah, I know. I hate that. I hate doing that. I mean, if you're positive it's a right side, you can do it. But, man, I always like to get forward when you have a flat and don't positively know. It looks like the lefts are up, though.
Jimmy Johnson going by the 00. Again, that's 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Okay, we got a race for the lead. Mark Martin's right on Kyle Busch. He's not letting him get any further out than this right here. You can see here they're just a car length apart.
Now Kyle Busch pulling his car down to run that bottom lane that Martin has been using the last 2 laps.
Yeah, Mark's been pretty much on the bottom of the racetrack all night.
He's got his car working pretty good right here. It's going to be a 2-car race, it looks like. They pulled out about 20 car lengths on Marcus Ambrose in 3rd.
I think Kyle can afford to run where he wants to run, though. That hasn't been right on the bottom, as we see Jimmy Johnson trying to get another spot here.
Battle for 7th spot between these 2 guys. And considering Jimmy Johnson had to come back on pit road for a tire issue and restarted back in 21st position, he's made a pretty good gain all the way up to 7th. Less than 30 laps to go here at Bristol, Tennessee. Kyle Busch trying to hold off Mark Martin. Folks, the last 3 August races, the driver who's led the most laps has not won the race. Mark Martin has led the most laps tonight. Problems for Martin Truex Jr., and that's the reason for the 10th caution flag of the night here at Bristol, Tennessee. Truex battling side by side. A lot of traffic on the racetrack, and cut that left front tire, bounced it up into the outside, and debris bringing out the caution now here with just 20 laps to go.
Yeah, he's got parts coming off this car all the way around the track.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of debris out there until the tire actually came apart there and started messing up the fender, all the brake ducts.
Show you again what happened to the 1 car in traffic.
This guy's battling off of turn 2. See Jamie McMurray get into the 00. Truex got into Jamie McMurray. That pushed the fender back on his tire. Probably a fender brace, actually, probably, Andy.
Yeah, well, you can see right there, it's just starting to smoke. And we saw this tire rubbing, and then bam. See right there, just cut the whole tire in 2.
Now from Carl Edwards' view, you can see exactly what happened.
Right there, as soon as the car goes down in the corner, just cuts that left front tire.
So they brought him on pit road for a tire change. The 31 car, by the way, will get the free pass. Jeff Burton able to get one of the laps back. Here is the 5 car, Mark Martin. Does he have something for him? Let's find out, Dave.
Let's see what his crew chief thinks. Alan Gustafson, how much does Mark have left for Kyle?
Well, I mean, Mark's driving his tail off. He's done a great job for us tonight. All these guys on this Carquest Chevy got a good car, great pit stops, but it's going to be tough, you know. Track position's a lot. It's hard to pass. I know Mark will race them clean, but he's going to race them hard. So we'll see what we got.
And Mark had one wish that isn't coming true. He said, man, if they just not wreck, that keeps happening.
Yeah. The most physically demanding racetrack in all of NASCAR, and you got a 50-year-old driver driving his heart out to try to win it here in the final laps. Conditions in the chase have changed here at Bristol tonight. Tony Stewart already in, but taking Kurt Busch hanging there. But look at the big gainers. Mark Martin up 3 spots so far.
And it's still not over. It still could change more. We've still got 15 laps to go.
And it's not how well you run, DJ, it's how well you finish.
That's exactly right. And, you know, what's Mark Martin going to do here with Kyle Busch? I can tell you one thing. I don't know exactly what he's going to do, but Mark Martin is going to race you the way that you race him. So if Kyle Busch has ever done anything to Mark Martin, he might expect a tap right here.
And we might just find out here. We'll all find out together here in the next few laps. The oldest driver, by the way, to win here at this racetrack, Dale Earnhardt, 48 years, 3 months, and 30 days back on August of '99. Mark Martin would set the record if he can pull it off. Here's Kyle Busch, who gets him by a car length on the start.
And Greg Biffle on the outside, but here comes Mark. Oh, he's able to clear up in that second spot. That was big for Mark to get off that second corner that way.
We get that big run through the middle of the corner.
Dale Jr. up in that 4th spot. Marcus Ambrose in 5th. Biffle still trying to work that high side on Mark Martin.
It's going to be hard for Mark to focus on that 18 car with Biffle chewing on his rear bumper.
Well, how about these 3 guys having to do something tonight to have a big night? They're all getting it done, but we got a mess back here, guys.
Tire rub on Michael Waltrip's car. Remember, he stayed on the racetrack. Sam Hornick's back in the race in the 77 car. It'll be 10 laps to go next time by. 10 laps to go in Bristol, Tennessee. This is there were just 3 races to go to make the chase critical to get a good finish.
Got some more contact. Man.
That's Michael getting his 00, the car that he owns, a little out of shape there, but they were all just 3 wide racing hard.
Now Mark Martin had backed up by 5 car lengths, has now cut it to 3 car lengths with 9 laps to go this time by.
Looks like he might get to the bumper.
He's coming hard. Oh, got trouble. Michael Waltrip around. Heavy contact then.
And the 33 car involved, and that will pretty much doom any shot he would have at getting in the chase.
Well, it's certainly going to hurt his chances. We still have 2 races to go, but it's just putting Clint Boyer in a more difficult position to make that happen.
Come on around.
I know that's not what Mark Martin wanted to see either. He was making some headway towards the lead there.
And the whole front of that car is just destroyed for Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, unless they red flag this, we're going to be down to pretty much a green-white checkered before they can get all of this. I think they're going to red flag this, though.
Yeah, they're going to stop on the racetrack where we're being heard. They're going to put them on the back straightaway and try to get this all cleaned up so we have some laps of racing left. Well, Kyle Busch able to get the advantage on the restart by a car length or 2. Mark backs up 5 or 6 car lengths and runs him back down.
And Mark's wish didn't come true again. He wants them to quit wrecking, but they keep wrecking. This is how this all got started. Or this is the first time, as you see, Michael Waltrip kind of squeezes Martin Truex and then gets into the right rear of the car that he owns of David Rudiman. And then I think Michael might have a tire go down right here. Yeah, just swaps ends, gets into the wall. And then Clint Boyer gets turned around by Joey Logano and backs into Michael Waltrip. Michael was having a good night. That's the bad thing, man. He
all went south in the last 15 laps.
And that's Bristol. God, you drive your heart out for 480 laps, and here we're at 492, and you got not anything to show for except a torn-up race car.
You heard the fans cheer when Michael got out of the car, and there's the 33 car, the back end, the front end. Clint Boyer's car all chewed up. Clint had moved up in within about 50 points of the 12th position early in this race, and now as he sits on the racetrack here under the red flag. He's being shown 112 points back of 12th, 15th in the points.
Guys, look at up in 11th. Brian Vickers, who's got the lucky dog 2 different times, and he had fallen way back as far as the points and outside of the top 12, but now he sits in 11th spot on the racetrack. We're going to have some more racing to go, and he's only 36 points out of that 12th spot.
And you know what I'm thinking about also with Brian Vickers is having a good run. What about the 47 car, Marcus Ambrose? He will start on the outside of that second row behind Kyle Busch on the restart. And Marcus has got a quick car, and that high line has been awfully good. If Busch gets an advantage, Ambrose could end up being right there in second spot.
Yeah, he could very well do that. It just seems that his car and Mark Martin's takes a couple of laps for it to come in. They just don't get going on that first or second lap. But once you get past that, man, those 2 guys are fast.
The problem is we're not going to have but just a few laps to go here when we get the green.
Well, let's check in down on the 18 pits and talk to Steve Addington, the crew chief for Kyle Busch. Jamie.
The wind is picking up. The raindrops are coming. Steve, what is going through your mind right now?
Oh, I can't control that. You know, I mean, it is what it is. But everybody here has done an awesome job on this M&M's Toyota Camry all weekend long. Kyle was very patient through practice and everything. We hit on something right there at the end of happy hour, and he was happy with the car. But it's just, you know, this racing here is nerve-wracking anyway at Bristol, but I love this place. This is my favorite racetrack to come to. Kyle gets around here great, and him and Mark Martin race to the end. That's going to be awesome. They had 2 great race car drivers right there, you know, and you got Biffle and them sticking their nose in there. So we'll see how it plays out. Either we're going to run these last few laps or it's going to rain one way or another.
All right, let's say we're going to go back to green. These guys are side by side. You told me today, despite your 15th position in the points, you guys were going to go for the win. How much risk are you willing to take?
Oh, we're going for the win. There's no doubt. We've come this far. I mean, we got to race for the win, and Biffle and them are right there in the top 10, so we've got to get all the points we can get for here, Atlanta, and Richmond.
Hey, it's all about team morale. It's about points, Shannon. Let's see if the 18 will hang on for their first win since Las Vegas.
Jamie, someone who would love to break up the party right now with the 18 and the 16 up front is, of course, Frank Kerr, the 47 of Marcos Ambrose. It looks like we're only going to have a handful of laps when we go back green. Do you guys have enough to get those guys and win this race?
The 18 and the 5 car are really good. You know, we'll get the restart on the outside here, and it seems like on the restarts you can get going better on the outside. So we could probably get to the third, but the 18 and 5 was real good. But Marcus did a great job coming from the back, and pit crew was great. You know, we ran good here in the spring, brought the same car back, and Clorox Toyota's been good all day.
You guys had a great happy hour practice this weekend as well. He seems to have really adapted this racetrack. Why do you think that is?
You know, he's a talent, you know what I mean? And he adapts to these racetracks way faster than anybody ever expected. And this just suits his style. And we picked a good setup for him, you know, and we'll see what happens. They get banging. We never know what happens. But I hope the rain stops and we get back to racing.
4th place right now for Marcos Ambrose, guys. Not bad for second time here at Bristol. Doc?
And Jamie, if Marcus Ambrose could somehow pull this off, he would join a very elite group of drivers that collected their very first NASCAR Sprint Cup victory here. Look at this group here. Dale Earnhardt Sr. won here in '79. Our man Rusty Wallace, Kyle Busch. You see Ernie Irvin, Elliott Sadler. I mean, there's some incredible names there that have won their first race here at Bristol. And Marcus Ambrose, that'd be a pretty good group to be a part of.
Yeah, and if you win your first race at Bristol, it just means you got a lot of talent. You got a lot more wins coming.
Well, if he's going to win this, he's going to have to get a little bit like Dale Earnhardt and use the nose of that car to get that done. I
He's
think.
not afraid to. I've seen him. He'll do it.
Let's listen into Mark Martin's radio.
God, why do they have to wreck? You know, man, I tell you, you know, just wish we could have raced for it, you know, instead of having to do all this jockeying.
Man, that's a lot of frustration, too, because he just caught back up to Kyle, was going to have a good race to the finish, and you hate seeing that caution come out like that.
And he knows he's going to have to, if we get this restarted, which hopefully we will, he's going to have to start down the inside. He's going to have to battle Greg Biffle again. Man, it just it creates frustration on the driver's part, but there's nobody out there better at handling those type of situations than Mark Martin.
Just imagine what these drivers have been thinking about these last 3.5 hours. What kind of day it's been on this racetrack. Why don't we talk to a guy who's been in the middle of it all afternoon here with our in-race reporter, Jeff Burton, the 31 car, now being shown back on the lead lap in 20th spot.
Hey, Jeff, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
Man.
Well, did you need a break, or were you doing all right there?
I was doing okay, but we spent the first half of the race on 7 cylinders for some reason, like a wire loose or something, and then now we're back on 8. We're fast. We just keep having to play catch up, but I think we're pretty sporty here if we can. There's obviously not many laps left, but we're going to go get what we can get.
Hey, Jeff, have you seen the track change throughout the night, or has it stayed pretty consistent?
It's really hard for me to say because, like I said, the first half of the race, we were on 7 cylinders. Of course, as you know, the car drives completely different on 7 cylinders than it does on 8. We have more trouble with rear grip, obviously, with 8 cylinders. But so it's really difficult for me to say. Since my car didn't change much from the whole time we were on 7, and it hasn't changed much since we've been on 8.
All right, Jeff, thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, man.
Jeff Burton back there in the back after starting at the back of the pack in 37th position. Should log a top 20 finish. Well, let's go down and talk to Greg Biffle's crew chief, Jamie.
And Greg Irwin now straight face. He's watching his driver. They started out second. You guys fell back a little bit. Now you're up to third. Got to ask you, how much risk do you take right now? Do you go for the win?
I think you will. He's been doing a great job keeping the fenders on it. We've been in some really tight spots tonight with our 3 infusion, and the guys on pit road have been getting us spots every time. And right now the car's restarting really well, the best it has all night. So we'll see what we got. I'm sure neither one of those guys up in front of us are going to lay back. So we'll see if we can't sit back there and maybe we can steal one.
Hey, you guys were 10th coming into this race, one of the bubble boys, as we say. What is it like as a crew chief being in that situation, coming to Bristol of all times?
Can catch a breath on the way home, maybe sleep a little easier tonight, and looking forward to getting on to next week.
Hey, if it finishes like it is now, he would have gained 3 positions, moves up to 7. I think he can breathe better. Doc.
Indeed, it's been almost a year since Greg Biffle has been to victory lane. In fact, it was September of 2008 at Dover, the last time he won. One of 6 drivers won a year ago that have yet to win in 2009. Well, it's been a wild and crazy night, Alan, best we can. A lot of shuffling going on in the points because of what's happening with the Frammen and Bammen on the track.
Yeah, Doc, just talking to Greg Biffle's crew chief. Let's look at some of the incidents tonight that have affected those guys trying to make that chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Clint Boyer, twice in the last 100 laps, has had things go wrong. First got nipped by his teammate Kevin Harvick. He barely got through that one, though had some right front damage. And the one that we'll see a little bit later on wasn't quite so fortunate. We see Sam Hornish with his problems here by way of setting up some troubles for Juan Pablo Montoya. The restart from that, and Montoya's going to get a little damage.
And Montoya gets down here in the corner. It looks like something's going terrible wrong with his car. He doesn't get up to speed, gets a shot in the rear end from Matt Kenseth, and they come in a couple laps later, about a lap and a half later. They think they got right side tires going down. Probably should have come in earlier, though, guys. He stayed out and took a chance.
Drops Montoya to 28th. Meantime, Kyle Busch went to the lead for the first time in this race at lap 433, and he's been challenged a few times in these final 100 laps on restarts, but he's held on.
Oh, yeah, Mark Martin's running him down and getting real close to him, and he's not liking this caution right now. Mark isn't.
And here's the latest one that involved Clint Boyer, who got turned around by Joey Logano after Michael Waltrip crashed and put the hurt on the front of the 55 car and on the back end of his 33 as well. So right now, it is Kyle Busch who is showing just 34 points off the cut line with Matt Kenseth down in 12th spot. And you see that Vickers and Clint Boyer, the gap they have to try and make that chase for the Sprint Cup with just after these final 8 laps and 2 more races.
I will not comment on this until after these last 8 races. This changes every 8 races, I tell you. A lot of pressure on those guys, though, hovering around that bubble.
You sound like President Obama.
I'm not picking anymore.
All right, so some guys and the typical Bristol fans get into it here, huh? Little late night red flag.
Sir. Let's have a little fun. We're racing.
There you go. Some guys that have come from deep in the pack tonight up toward the front. How about Dale Earnhardt Jr. started 27th, Dave?
Yeah, Alan, this morning Lance McGrew and I were talking, and you said, yeah, I think maybe we're a top 6 or 7 car. Look at you, top 5 from 27th.
Were you? I wasn't lying to you. I never lie to you, Dave, if that's your name. No, the car's been really good. We've got tight on this last run. I'm not really sure what's going on. We haven't really been tight off all day, but Junior's done a great job in the sugar-free amp Chevrolet today. I'm hoping that we can finish it off. We definitely have a long-range car, and these short runs are killing us. Car's just too tight on the short run, so we're going to get what we can.
See what he can get on these last few laps. Shannon?
Guys, as we're watching the fans do the wave around this half-mile racetrack down here with Pat Tryson, Kurt Busch's crew chief, the team that has not given up tonight. You guys had some major damage, came down pit road a couple times. I'll have you tell everybody at home how you guys have managed to stay in the top 10.
Well, I mean, we pitted there and got tires on, but Kurt's done a great job coming back through there with the Middle Light Dodge. Everybody worked real hard, got everything fixed up, and hopefully we can gain some more spots here. Hopefully it goes back green and we can pick up some more spots. I think we got a pretty fast car right now, so maybe we even get a shot at winning it.
Kurt Busch remains 6th in the points right now, guys. They are one of the drivers who are looking to stay in the top 12, obviously, to make that chase.
All right, Shannon, and a reminder, Sports Center is next as soon as we're done here in Bristol, and we've just got 8, shortly to be 7 laps to go in tonight's 500-lap NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. Red flag removed, the yellow flag is back out again, and we're going to have a restart here, Rusty, with Kyle Busch likely outside, Mark Martin inside, and Marcus Ambrose on the outside of row 2.
Yeah, Mark Martin struggled all race long trying to get a good restart in this inside lane. To take a look at it right now in this start, it's Kyle Busch on the outside. Cal gets a good juke. Mark spins his tires, and so does Marcus Ambrose behind him. Both those guys in the inside lane. This is going to be a very, very key restart with 8 laps to go. Now, Marcus dominated this race. He's led for 240 laps. I mean, I know he doesn't want to give this thing up, but if he's going to win this race, he's going to have to get these rear tires cleaned off. He's going to have to get through the gearbox real good, better than he's been doing all night long.
Who wins?
I don't know.
Your lip quivered. All right, he's on the fence on this one. He like the rest of us, Doc, DJ and Andy. We're going to find out.
We are indeed going to find out. There have been 4 Bristol races settled by a last lap pass. You remember the last time we had a last lap pass here? It was the 5 car that was leading, and a guy named Dale Earnhardt Sr. Gave Terry Labonte a little punt coming down the back stretch, and said it didn't mean to spin him, just meant to rattle his cage. That was back in August of 1999. So we have seen a lot of fireworks here in the final laps over the years at Bristol, Tennessee.
I tell you what, this is going to be interesting. I think this racetrack is going to be extremely slick right here. We've got speedy dry on parts of it. We've had rain on it.
And we've had enough time for these tires to cool down a little bit and get kind of crusty. When they pick up that rubber riding around here and they get crusty, it's really hard to get them cleaned back off when they're cold and then trying to get them warmed back up again. But you see all the guys really working them hard, trying to get them ready to go.
Kyle Busch came into the night 70 points back in 15th position, 70 points back of the transfer spot, 12th I should say, in the chase. And right now he sits as the leader, just 34 points behind the 12th position.
I'm going to go well on the limb here and say that we might not have seen our last caution. Is that a stretch?
It's a pretty thick limb, I think.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting here.
I think in this position, Kyle Busch has such a huge advantage. What we've seen on that outside, his car really takes off well. He's got his tires cleaned off good and doesn't spin the tires right here. I'd say they're going to have a hard time beating him.
Yeah, he's sitting in the catbird seat for sure. You see he's getting those rear tires ready to go.
And behind him, Marcus Ambrose making his 35th career start. Could he get his first win, not on a road course, but on an oval, maybe the toughest oval in all of NASCAR? We're about to find out. 4 laps to go to the checkered flag.
Wow, Mark Martin hanging on pretty good right here, guys.
And they get off of turn 2. Kyle Busch gets the advantage off of turn 2. Ambrose in 3rd spot.
He's able to make that high line work and take that 3rd spot. Biffle 4th.
Okay, 4 laps to go. Mark's there.
How much? Kyle slips a little bit right there. See his car wiggle.
We're seeing a lot of Mark Martin in that rearview mirror right now.
All right, here he comes. Is he going to hit him?
Okay, 3 to go.
2 to go, corner.
2 to go, actually. 2 to go.
He's leaving that inside open a little bit.
White flag this time by. Out of turn 2. Mark Martin trying to get there. Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch drives it hard into turn 3.
Coming likes that outside. Mark's going to have to really get a bite. I think he's going to have to hit him, guys, if he's going to win this.
White flag here. Mark Martin on the bottom of the racetrack. Kyle Busch by 1 car length. Ambrose back in third.
Gets in behind him. Is he going to try to get to this bumper?
And out of turn 4, Kyle Busch will win it at Bristol, Tennessee.
Wow, Marcus Ambrose in third. Great run for him. Biffle needs a good run, comes home 4th.
Denny Hamlin 5th and Ryan Newman 6th.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. fell back to 9th. Jimmy Johnson up to 8th.
Thank you, guys.
And that was a shootout right there. It sure was.
Thank you.
And Mark Martin did everything he could.
16th career win for Kyle Busch in his 174th start. 4th win of 2009. And that ties him with Mark Martin for the most wins on the season. Sports Center coming up next at the conclusion of our coverage here in Bristol, Tennessee. Let's go down to Vince.
Well, Steve Addington, considering where you were in the points coming into this race tonight, how big is this victory for Kyle and your team?
It is super huge. It's just good to get. We've had a good car in Michigan, and he was happy with it. Had a piece of debris locked the front sway bar up in it. Come here and had a great practice. You know, everything went smooth, just tweaked on our race car. And, dude, that guy sitting behind that seat, behind that steering wheel right there is the man. We just got to get back on our track of giving him what he needs to win races. And we'll get this M&M's Toyota in that chase one way or another.
Certainly a good place to start, Doc, with a win here at Bristol.
Wow, for Kyle Busch, he almost not going to get in the chase. Now he may get in the chase. He may have a chance to be the top seed if he can win one more race.
Well, it's a lot of things to be decided. We've got 2 exciting races coming up at Atlanta and Richmond. Dave?
And Mark Martin climbing from the 5 car now. He's already told his team how much he appreciates their hard work tonight. Mark, how tough was it trying to get Kyle there at the end?
I wanted to get him, but he gave me room. Wasn't any use in, you know, we were racing hard for it. I got in under him. He gave me plenty of room, and it's a good thing because I got sideways, slid right up, and it's a good thing that he didn't crowd me or we'd have both wrecked. I tried to get him, but you know, I'm proud of Pop-Tarts and CarQuest and everybody. I'd like to have won it, but we finally got a decent finish with a great race car. And no matter how this thing falls, I'm proud of this race team. I'm proud to drive their car, and I'm having the time of my life.
Mark, this is Bristol. You could have used the bumper. Why didn't you?
I don't think he would have on me. He gave me room. I just didn't get it done. He gave me room to pass him, and I couldn't do it.
We saw a great race, Doc.
Kyle Busch becomes the first driver since his brother Kurt back in 2003 to sweep both NASCAR Sprint Cup races here at Bristol, Tennessee in the same year.
Hey, he's giving the checkered flag to a fan there.
Made somebody happy.
Let's go down where Shannon is caught up with Marcus Ambrose.
Well, it is high fives for this 47 team down here. Of course, Marcos Ambrose always has a smile on your face. How were you able to figure this track out so quickly and get this 3rd place finish?
Well, I tell you what, here I am with 8 laps to go, and I've got Mark Martin and Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Greg Biffle. They're all running for the chase, and they're all legend drivers, and what am I doing here? I shouldn't be in this group, but you know, just a really great day for us. We're a brand new team. It's the first in the Cup Series, and to get my best over result on a wild Saturday night like we had tonight, it just feels great. And you know, we're really doing something, and I feel really proud of my team and Clorox for helping us get to the Cup Series in the first place. It's just been a great night.
Great finish from Marcos Ambrose on the 47 team. Doc?
Best oval finish for Marcus Ambrose. His previous one had been 4th at Talladega back in the spring of this year. And Kyle Busch backing it up, and we'll spin him off and head to victory lane. Kyle Busch's 4th win of 2009, his 3rd win at Bristol. Let's go down to Vince.
With Clint Boyer obviously disappointed. Clint, can you sum up the frustrations of a night at Bristol?
Pretty frustrated.
There you have it.
I can tell you guys, that's a tough situation. You know, we don't give these guys much time to get out of their cars and absorb everything, but you've been there, come here, try to do your job, and Clint Boyer came here hoping to get himself situated where he could get in that top 12, but as we look at it now, he's pretty far back.
He was only 58 points back when he came in today, and now look, 112 points back for Clint Boyer and in 15th position.
And if you look around that bubble spot, these points are tight. You see right there. I mean, it's really from 7th all the way down to 15th or 14th.
It is possible for Clint Boyer to get it done with 2 more races. They go to Atlanta and they go to Richmond, where he has been good, but it is not very likely.
It doesn't look good now for Clint Boyer.
Well, Kyle Busch, we said in August a year ago, he dominated the night only to finish second tonight. He was very patient early on and worked his way from 15th starting spot, taking his time, getting through traffic, and now he sits in victory lanes. We go down to our Degree V12 victory circle.
Something I haven't seen from Kyle Busch. He sat in there, closed his eyes, and took it in for 5 seconds before he was released to celebrate victory. It's been since May. This race was his last victory. Kyle, before the start of the race, you said winning the truck race proved you can still do it. What does getting back to victory lane in the Cup Series prove?
It's awesome. You know, the racing the Sprint Cup Series with all these guys is really an honor. And Mark Martin, you know, what a class act. I mean, he deserved to win this race. And I'm sorry he came home in second. I know how he feels, but man, I drove as hard as I could, and he had a chance. He could have done it, but he didn't. You know, he raced me clean, and we didn't have the best car tonight, but we had a car capable enough of doing it if I could drive it hard enough, and I gave it everything I had. You know, this is pretty crazy. We wanted to win here so long, but really got to thank M&M's, Toyota, Interstate Batteries, everybody at Sprint, of course, Tom Murphy and the loss of his family. Our prayers go out to those guys. So thank DirecTV, Gillette, Marquee Jets, and the fans. You know, it's mixed emotions, but there's a lot of good. There's definitely a lot of good, and we love all of them.
Kyle, Steve Addington, your crew chief, told me you came in this week on your own and you guys had a sit down about communication. Tonight you seemed to give a lot of feedback. How beneficial was that to getting back here?
Well, it was big. You know, I tried giving everything I had to Steve. You know, I mean, there was just sometimes it's frustrating when you work on your car, you make changes, and you just don't get it quite the way you want it, and it takes time sometimes, and we still didn't have it the best there tonight, but we had a good enough car where we made it. And I'm so proud of these guys, all these M&M's team guys that do so much work at the shop. They worked their butt off here at the racetrack. We had good pit stops all night. There was a couple flaws, but we were pulling rubbers and stuff we lost spots on. So, you know, we made a lot of adjustments tonight, and that paid dividends. And I'm hoping this just isn't a fluke to get in the chase, man. We need to run well at Atlanta and again at Richmond. We feel like we can do it.
Well, they did what they needed to do tonight. They sit 13th right now. They're not there yet, Alan, but it's as good as it could get.
Another wild race. Kyle's got 2 races left to try and get into the chase. Next one in 2 weeks, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil. Sunday, September 6th, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Racing for you next weekend, the Nationwide Series on the road course in Montreal. That's ESPN2 next Sunday at 2 Eastern time. Sports Center is next, so another night full of sparks flying and fenders bending in Thunder Valley. And in the end, Kyle Busch held off Mark Martin in a thrilling finish for the win. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.